Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Thrown under the bus.
No. Always live. Always real. Always unpredictable.
I'm not okay with that.
It sounded good when I thought.
Log on and join our live conversation.
Yes, I don't like
right.
that.
You're 100% right.
DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. It is Wednesday, August 7th. I'm here with Stephanie, Tori, Brandon. I'm Sam. Let's get right to it. Well, Americans are on edge after the recent mass shootings. We're seeing a number of false alarms sending people into a panic. This was the scene in Times Square last night. Police say the sound of a motorcycle backfiring sparked a stampede of people screaming, crying, and trying to get to safety. Then another false alarm in Utah when a sign fell down at a Salt Lake City mall. Police say someone yelled shots during this concert, sending everyone into a frenzy. And it is a similar story at a Louisiana Walmart. According to a 911 call, people started running, started screaming when they thought they saw a gun. But again, no gun, just some men arguing. So DBL Nation, we got to hear from you on this. We're all in this together. Are you on edge after these recent shootings? Head to dblvote.com. Let us know what you're thinking. Tori, you were shaking your head. You feel on edge or you're not?
Yes, I'm on edge, but I don't think I'm on edge as much as I should be. And I spoke to Brandon about this earlier, just in a conversation. And he really is like any sound, anywhere, he's checking the exits. And I've been a bit remiss, to be honest with you. So I'm going to take this opportunity and say I should get more prepared. I don't want to be on edge because I'm an anxious person already, and I don't want them to win. So I'm trying to maintain my life and go to places and live my life, but I should be more aware. I should be more aware. I just don't want to be more anxious because I already am.
And I don't, you know, I'm not knocking you for that, but when you can go into a Walmart, when you can go to a garlic festival, when you can go to a synagogue and go for 100%. Your Jewish faith and still be in harm's way. I've been on edge for quite some time now. And I know Times Square, I go back to New York all the time because I do stuff with the New York Giants. I won't go through Times Square. I don't want to go to a festival. I don't want to go to a concert. And that may be saying, hey, they're winning, but at the same time, and I know the odds of it actually happen, but at the same time, I have my head on a swivel at all times. And I think a lot of Americans feel the same way.
I think so too. I look to Stephanie, who you come from England. You grew up your whole life in Britain. You never had to worry about this. You moved here about a year ago. Now that you live in America and every week you are reporting on mass shootings, does it change your quality of life here?
It doesn't change my quality of life personally, because I've been very lucky that no one I know has been involved in anything like this. Have I seen it around me, with even your sister being an emergency nurse at the scene of the last garlic festival where there was a horrendous shooting? Yes. Has it made me more aware? Absolutely yes. But I think because it's so far removed from how I've been brought up in my culture, I'm not looking around for the nearest exit. I'm not thinking, is there someone here with a gun? Which is really strange. But does it make me think about my future in America and how I want to live my life, and would I raise children here?
Would you?
Absolutely no.
Wow.
I wouldn't. No way.
I hear
That's
that.
a harsh reality. That is. Let's see what DBL Nation has to say. Thank you for your honesty. 60% of you say, no, you are not on edge, although 40% of you are on edge. So you're not alone. Believe me, I feel the same way.
Do you feel that way?
I do, especially having a child. I fear putting her into school. I fear her going to a festival. I mean, the Garlic Festival was minutes from my home in Santa Cruz, so it's very scary.
And I would like for the people, DBL Nation, the 60% that wrote in saying that they're not on edge, why?
Okay.
Like, why
Please
do they feel safe?
Communicate with us. Absolutely. Let us know, DBL Nation. Use the hashtag dbltake. Today, the president is visiting Dayton, Ohio and El Paso, Texas after the recent tragedies. He just arrived there with First Lady Melania Trump. He says the visit is about promoting national unity. Watch.
No, I don't think my rhetoric has at all. I think my rhetoric is it brings people together.
But some argue the quite opposite, that his rhetoric is what is tearing this country apart. He was met with protests in Ohio, and we are expecting to see more in El Paso. Presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke is standing with those protesters in Texas. Take a look.
People in El Paso, by and large, do not want to see him here, understand that he is part of the problem, part of how we got to this point.
The president is firing back, saying, quote, Beto, phony name to indicate Hispanic heritage, O'Rourke should respect the victims and law enforcement and be quiet. Beto responded with, quote, 22 people in my hometown are dead after an act of terror inspired by your racism. El Paso will not be quiet, and neither will I.
Two things real quick. I can't sit by and let what he said go, okay? We all know how I feel about Trump, but when he says his rhetoric brings people together, even his base knows that's not true. They like him for that. So I'm calling it out right here. I won't sit on this panel and say that's true. That is a falsehood, and we've all seen it. If you have ears or eyes and you have sanity, you know that's not true. Number two, respect the victims by being silent is disrespectful, in my opinion. Respect is doing something legislatively. It is doing something for action. That's what these victim families want. So being quiet is not going to happen, and I think that's disrespectful.
Well, what would you say? Because I always want to hear what DBL Nation has to say. I think that gives us really is a finger on the pulse. And many of them are saying that there's been unfair coverage of, they are denouncing the white nationalism, right? But they also want us to acknowledge that the Dayton, Ohio shooter had a left-wing extremism, if you will.
Yeah, there's alleged reports on that, and it isn't all confirmed, because I went and looked about Antifa things and very left-wing things, which I condone absolutely on both sides. Yep. Radicalism is horrible. Yep. Fundamentalism is horrible. But I guess to me, the difference is that manifesto. And that manifesto was planned, written, quoted Trump. He drove 10 hours. You have a lot of time to turn around.
And the FBI and our own Homeland Security has said that white nationalism in this country is our biggest threat. Not Antifa, not ISIS, not MS-13, not illegal immigrants, but white nationalism. So both parties need to be on board on this, denounce it, deal with it like the domestic terrorism that it is.
And like you corrected me earlier, there are Republicans who have come out and denounced white supremacy, but it seems like they're the minority.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of people in America want to hear more. They want to hear more Republicans come out. They want to hear people like Tucker Carlson not say white supremacy is a hoax. But to go back to Beto, I know a lot of people are saying that he's being an opportunist right now. But right now, he's tackling the bully, and the bully is in his backyard, and he has nothing to do but to stand up for his people and his hometown.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Fair enough. Chime in, DBL Nation, please. We love hearing from you. Well, just in today, Cyntoia Brown has been released from prison. The 31-year-old woman served 15 years of her life sentence for killing a man she said hired her for sex. Now, thanks in part to Kim Kardashian and other celebrities who brought attention to her case, she is a free woman. Now, Stephanie, you and I have talked about this. We think, well, of course, we applaud Kim Kardashian. We think this young woman should be released from jail. But there's a lot of people online that feel like that she shouldn't be released from jail. Talk about that.
So I think in this case, I understand why some people are against this, because yes, she killed someone, and life in most cases should be life. But I think there's multiple factors in this that haven't been considered. One is the fact that she'd been raped by this man and she was scared for her life. Two, she thought he was about to pull a gun on her. So in my opinion, that was self-defense. Three, she was held there against her own will, which is, again, she's trying to escape. Think about all of these situations. And four, she was only 16 when she got charged with this. So she was
tried as an adult.
She was completely, this should never have happened to her, you know?
I 100% agree with Steph. Remember, the Supreme Court has ruled that at 21 is when the brain is fully developed, and we don't put people to life juveniles in. She has been, I think, sex trafficked and fairly accused. I don't think she should have seen a day of jail. She thought her life was in danger. He reached for something, she claims. And big ups again to Kim K. I know people don't like her, but behind these scenes, she is doing more than a lot of our senators.
Right. And first of all, you can't be let me just say this loud and proud. You cannot be a prostitute, as many people call her, at 16. You are not an adult.
No.
You are not able to authorize consent. So every time that you are saying this young girl is engaging in a transaction, there is no transaction at 16. That is rape.
Yeah, I think those people who say that, they should look at this documentary called Me Facing Life, Cyntoia's story. When she was arrested when she was 15, 16-year-old, and she was interviewed. She says that at the time, the first thing he did was he did something to me. He choked me till I passed out, because he said that he thought that I was a joke. She's talking about her pimp named Cutthroat. Now, if anyone out there at 15 years old, if you're going to tell me a 15-year-old, 16-year-old with a pimp named Cutthroat who was being sex trafficked
and almost thought her life was in danger.
And thought her life was in danger. Come on, there has to be some sort of sympathy for this
poor
woman.
young girl.
Yeah.
I tell you what, trauma from day one.
Yes.
Unbelievable. All right, next story. Monica Lewinsky is taking her infamous story to the FX network. She's producing the 3rd season of American Crime Story that will follow the scandals leading up to President Bill Clinton's impeachment hearings. Along with Monica, Paula Jones and Linda Tripp will be main characters in the story. Actress Beanie Fieldstein plays Monica. She's Jonah Hill's younger sister, appeared in recent films like Lady Bird and Booksmart. No word yet on who will play the Clintons. Do you think America wants to keep hearing about this story?
I think, are we not all over it? We've heard it so many times. We've heard a side of the story. We've read it in magazines. We've seen it on television interviews. This is just another kind of, she just wants to make some money, let's be honest.
Well, okay, so I disagree with you, but I do hear you in that we've heard this over and over again. But I think two letters, OJ. We heard OJ a lot, and we all tuned in to see the American Crime Story.
They won Emmys.
They won Emmys. It was a great story. I think we've heard the story from his point of view in a way, and this might be in her way telling her side of the story. Here's where I have a problem. It's right by the 2020 elections. And I think it's going to say people are going to turn off and not want to vote, first off. And two, I think it's going to hurt Democrats. I really do.
Wow.
And to kind of reiterate what you're saying about her telling her side of the story. My mom always used to tell me there's 3 sides to the story.
Oh, yeah.
A, B, and the truth.
Yep.
So now that she gets to come out with the story, I want her to paint herself as the 22-year-old home wrecker opportunist that she was at that time. Now, I understand it looks bad with me saying that, but a lot of people feel that.
Brandon,
so if
I
it
agree
looks
that
like,
what
I
she
don't
did,
want it to look like she was being preyed on or anything
and
like
I will
that.
always say this, and our audience wrote in and agreed with you on this and disagreed with me. What she did was wrong. The way it was handled by the media was an onslaught of bullying that I've never seen, and it was because she was a woman and because she was young and vulnerable. That cannot happen. It was a consensual relationship.
I think that's a duality of thought we can all agree with, right?
Absolutely.
What she did was wrong, but how it was handled in the aftermath was also wrong.
But Sam,
there you go. Yes.
Can't wait to tune in.
Can't wait to tune in. He's ready.
Can't wait to tune in.
It's a cup of tea. DBL is live. Coming up, a grandma's regret of never seeing the ocean turned into the ultimate adventure with her grandson. How he stepped up to make sure all of her wishes came true. Plus, a father shows his son the world after the young boy loses his eyesight. You do not want to miss the powerful heart threads. And you, the viewer, are our 5th host. A Midwest town is banning city employees from using nicotine and tobacco to encourage healthier behavior. But does the ban go too far? We want to hear from you. Your comments next.
Hi there, DBL Nation. Kelly Schubert here with the DBL Digital team. I'm tracking all the breaking and trending news for you right now, but I think we're going to go to the desk and see what's going on over here. Let me get the thumbs up from Chris. Chris?
Lewinsky responded more.
Good?
Definitely not me.
Good?
Did she really?
Did she?
Good?
Oh, she's promoting.
Hi, guys.
She's promoting.
Tori, Steph.
So I want to speak directly to one viewer. Zoe and I have had an awesome debate this morning. Zoe agrees completely with Brandon on this one. That Brandon, she says, you're right, she was a homewrecker. She wasn't young, she was 22. That's young, I believe.
Wait, Zoe's agreeing with
Zoe's
me?
agreeing with you.
Yesterday she called me Uncle Tom. There you go, girl. I love you, girl.
You know who was a young Tamir Rice? He was 12 when a police officer killed him. I think both things can be true. I think when you are 22, you're vulnerable as an intern to the office of the most powerful person on earth. But yes, I will look at you in the eye in this weird non-eye cyber way and say, you're right. She did something with a married man and she was absolutely wrong. And I'll say about him as a blue blood Democrat, he was wrong. Sleazy, sleazy, sleazy. And he was what? Impeached, as the Constitution cites. Now, he went to the Senate. They decided not to take him out of office, but everything worked the way it was supposed to. I think the onslaught of media bullying led to what I hope is the Me Too movement, because women were sick of never, ever having their story be told.
Whoa, that can't,
I know, that's a controversial
can't be the
statement.
catalyst. That can't be what pushed the Me Too movement, because she willingly did that as a 22-year-old.
But the bullying is what I think is misogynistic.
But no, but the bullying, it's like,
I know, I hear you.
I'm not going to say that she deserved it or whatever, but you kind of walked into that by doing this act with the president.
I understand,
of
but
the
he's a
United States.
grown woman. She's adult.
She's a grown.
But as 22, you're also an intern at the office of the most powerful person on earth. That is a power of abuse in a way that's a bit more than anything
But
we've
not
seen.
the abuse that a woman who
Agreed.
Harvey Weinstein
You're absolutely
trained
right.
But a
on.
lot of
That's
people in this
abuse.
country are guilty of infidelity, but do they get the scrutiny and the criticism under a magnifying glass that she did, and is that fair?
No, because
not saying it's right.
They cheated with the milkman and not the president of the United States.
That's a good point, but I. Welcome back to DBL. It is time for Fifth Host, when we talk about what you're talking about. Dayton, Ohio is banning city employees from using tobacco and nicotine. They hope it will promote a healthier work environment and save money, but union leaders say it would lead to workers' private lives being further scrutinized. So DBL Nation, should employers be able to ban tobacco use? Let's get right to your comments.
DBL Nation, where art thou? You're here. Antoinette from Facebook says smoking cigarettes is legal. What a person does during their time off is their business, especially if the person is good at their job. Well, Antoinette, what this person is doing is costing this business.
It's not a business, it's a town.
But the business is in charge of the health care for the employee. So if the employee is smoking and getting lung disease, then the business has to pay for that health care, which is up to the hundreds of billions is what these companies are paying. So I don't see anything wrong with this. We get tested for marijuana, which is legal.
It's not legal federally, and I think that is a big
But it's legal state to state.
What if I'm gonna explain to you why I disagree with you. Paula from Facebook agrees with you. The people of Dayton voted, and I would have been right there with them. Smoking stinks, plus it will kill you and everyone around you. Facts. Paula, I don't disagree with you. What I disagree with you, and the ACLU of Ohio disagrees with you, is discriminating someone on their personal behavior that's legal. If you start doing that, you start a slippery slope. Next, if I can't have a beer, if I can have cheeseburgers, because guess what? Obesity is a huge issue. If I can't wear certain things, my hair a certain way, because it bothers them. That is becoming a very unconstitutional situation when a town is telling a citizen what to do that is legal. So I'm 100% against this.
Dan from Facebook says, I'd rather be okay with employees smoking cigarettes than deny them of their rights.
Amen.
And I have to agree with you, Dan. What I'd rather see these companies doing is offering great incentives, maybe for people that do smoke, to help wean them off it, maybe give them some kind of, I don't know, extra benefit or a day off. I don't know. It sounds crazy. I can't think of what would be a good benefit, but something that's going to encourage them to take better care of themselves, but not deny them something that they're going to be addicted to. This isn't like a light switch. You can't just turn these things off. It takes time, and it takes understanding from the business too.
Well, that would be a compassionate approach. James from Facebook says, for the majority of the people who smoke, it's an addiction. The government, along with tobacco companies, are responsible. It's not right that people are being discriminated against that. They have a disease. Listen, as a small business owner, I understand the productivity, according to this article, goes out the door, citing their research, but I have to agree with Tori. I think it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
okay.
true.
Okay. Joy from Facebook says, I could care less if the person working next to me smokes. Get your work done and be respectful to coworkers. Well, how about this, Tori?
Okay.
You want Walmart to stop selling guns.
Right.
You want Gillette to take a stand on social and justice issues. The city of Dayton is taking a stand on people smoking cigarettes and ruining their life, because the difference between a cheeseburger and a cigarette has rat poison on it. It has tar and all that nasty stuff in it. So
and I hear you. And if any other conversation was out there, I would be completely advocating for a non-smoking system. However, I'm not okay with saving money by eradicating people's civil rights. We left England, apologies again, because the king had rights, or the queen, to its citizens, and they didn't have individual rights. The founding fathers said the government cannot interfere in legal things that are your personal behavior. If you go back on that, you can do it about everything. And California and Connecticut have already made laws saying you cannot ban anything that is a personal behavior that is a federal legal law. You can't.
There you have it. Thank you for writing in. Good fifth host.
No, you didn't.
Beyonce is making history again, this time as a work of art. Raquel, tell us the news at the moment.
Well, Sam, Queen Bee has totally earned her title as music royalty. Now she's becoming part of history at the Smithsonian. The museum is adding Beyonce's Vogue cover to the National Portrait Gallery. Now, this photo was the first ever to be shot by a black photographer in the magazine's 125-year history. Tyler Mitchell, who captured the shot, tweeted, "A year ago today, we broke open the floodgates." No word yet on when it'll go on display, but it's a permanent part of the collection.
Girls and boys, little girls come, that's where the Obamas are, and you can see major historical figures, and they sit and look up. This is a major movement for
representation matters.
For Beyonce, it's a huge honor.
Amen.
Huge.
Congrats to her. Coming up on DBL, a grandson helps his grandma realize it's never too late to take the adventure of a lifetime. We'll show you how they're inspiring people across the country. But first, after a child loses his sight, his father steps up in ways he never expected. That heart thread's coming up next.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. John Kudrowski. I'm a professional ski mountaineer, mountain guide. I'm an author and a keynote speaker as well, and I've been up on Everest 4 times. Now, I'm going to give you the 4 main things to consider when you're climbing Everest, and the first thing is travel. So when you're traveling over to climb Mount Everest, travel is about $2,000. You'll arrive in Kathmandu, and then if you're climbing the south side, you take a plane to Lukla and start trekking. If you're climbing the north side, you take a plane to Lhasa and you drive to base camp. Next is room and board. And for Mount Everest, there's a lot of little pieces to this. There's the trekking in to base camp. You can stay in really nice lodges and tea houses. Some of these expeditions have big dome tents with pool tables and ping pong tables and even a bar. Then you got to think about going up the mountain as well, and we have dining tents and cook tents in one of our camps called Advanced Base Camp, and then you also will be staying in a tent in the different camps. So there's a lot of lodging options, and this option costs you about $8,000. Now, what about the gear to climb Mount Everest? Because you're obviously not going to go up there in this. So the essential gear you're going to need to climb Mount Everest includes bottled oxygen, crampons to go on your boots, an ice axe, of course, and a big down suit to withstand the 30 or 40 below temperatures. Now, for the most important part of climbing Mount Everest, you're going to need a mountain guide. We'll also hire you a personal Sherpa, and those items will run you about $50,000, but they're very important. So on Everest, I've seen price ranges going from the low end, $50,000, the high end, $100,000. At the end of the day, you're going to be dropping about 75 grand in order to climb the highest mountain in the world. Get ready to cash in your child's college fund, or maybe even mortgage your house. I'll see you on the summit.
Welcome back to DBL. Now, today's Heart Threads is all about a determined dad who will stop at nothing to make sure his blind son experiences the world. Get your tissues ready. Here's their story.
After his son lost his sight to cancer, this dad resolved to show his little boy the world. Nolan Desmond was diagnosed with a rare eye cancer as a baby. After rounds of surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation, he eventually lost his sight.
He's been blind for over half his life.
Despite Nolan's blindness, his dad Matt wanted to make sure he could see the world. Matt takes 3-year-old Nolan to places with water so Nolan can hear and feel them.
Water. Feel it.
It ended up kind of being a tradition.
Matt documents all of Nolan's adventures, hoping one day his son will be able to see everywhere he's been.
I love you.
That was so beautiful. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Naomi. She said I was talking about breaking into it, and I said no one will remember it. Naomi said she did. Naomi, that's why I love you.
Copy those files from the green packet.
What happened? She put her finger in my tea again. No, and I think that's unprofessional, hurtful.
Why is she wearing headphones?
Yeah, she is walking around like I don't know, like a DJ. She looks like the pink ghost in Pac-Man. She does.
That's a good one.
That's my girl.
I just played that somewhere the other day. That's what I'm saying that. And I was like,
is it weird?
It's hard.
Dude, does it give you anxiety?
Yeah.
I don't like it when they're right behind me.
What the
and
hell
I'm like,
was that? I just played it. But then they trap you, like in the corner, and it's over.
It's weird. I don't know. There's like, I'm not a person that suffers from anxiety, but like Pac-Man does it just like I don't like things chasing. I don't like that.
Oh, I was at my buddy. It was this weekend. My buddy has the mini Pac-Man game.
Oh, yeah.
Because now you could buy like the little arcade
Right,
game.
my son has
That's
that.
where it was. It's
Yeah.
super cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's weird you said that.
Isn't
'cause I was
it
like,
weird
wait.
this resurgence with, because like my kids who grew up with all this technology love old school stand-up video games. And I wonder what that is, because they have access to like
pinball.
Crazy, yeah.
Remember when we went to that thing?
Yeah, that's where I took my daughter.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I went to this place called Hyperspace here in Denver, and I like it because Dave and Buster's, like, they have fun games, but first of all, their games are... Did I ever tell you what happened to me one time with my daughter there?
But I know where you're going. They're super expensive.
Dude, I took my oldest daughter and my oldest son to Dave and Buster's, and you know I put like a decent amount of money in their cars. Like, hey, you guys have been good. And so my daughter goes off, and I like run out, just like let them go play, and I'm eating at the bar. And she comes up and she's like, my car doesn't work. And I'm like, we've only been there for like 8 minutes. So I come back and I'm like, find the manager. And I'm like, I'm being stern but friendly. I'm like, hey, something's wrong. My daughter's trying to have a good time and her car doesn't work. He prints out this receipt. My daughter was playing the pull down thing where you get all those tickets.
Yeah.
But it's like $14 a pull, like 14 credits. And there was only like 100 and something on there. So she went through like $60 in probably like 7 or 8 minutes. And I had to do that when you're dead wrong after you've gotten the manager. And you're like, okay,
God.
I see. Okay, well, that's fine, and we're gonna just.
I won't be coming back.
Yes, I'm wrong. I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
It was so, because I was like, I had that like, and can we check this out? Because, and I was like, he like black and white is just like, you can't argue, just like, oh no.
Oh, no.
Super
Did you
wrong.
give her more money?
Yeah, I had to. We staying there. We only been there 10 minutes. I was like, I gotta kill this afternoon.
Welcome back to DBL. Before we go, we have to give a big DBL shout out to an inspiring duo capturing hearts on the internet. Meet 89-year-old Grandma Joy and her grandson Brad. They're on the ultimate road trip together so far, visiting 29 national parks. Brad committed to the adventure after Joy said she regretted never seeing the ocean or the mountains. They hope this journey will let other young people know you're never too cool to hang out with your grandparents. Absolutely not. We love hanging out with our grandparents.
I love my grandparents, but also I've got lots of friends that are pensioners.
What's that
Actually,
mean?
oh, so you're not working anymore.
Oh, retired.
You're retired. Sorry.
Retirees.
You're of a certain age, and yeah, one of them's coming out to visit me in Denver next month.
Yeah. State park it maybe.
Oh, she'll love it. She wants to go camping.
Okay,
She wants to see
all
the
right.
mountains too. She's lovely. You'll meet her, Carol, when she comes.
Ooh,
Oh,
Carol from London. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye, guys. Have a good day.
Digital team. I'm tracking all the breaking and trending news for you right now. And I do have a breaking update to give you. Remember that USA Today story I was telling you about at the Gannett building in McLean, Virginia? Police were on the way there because of reports of a man with a weapon. So far, USA Today is now saying those reports were a mistake. They say police have not found anything. There is no man with a weapon on campus. They were evacuated earlier today. I was telling you about that about an hour ago. But again, it looks like all good. USA Today is saying this. Again, reports of a man with weapons at the McLean, Virginia offices were mistaken. So that's some good news there. I'll keep you updated on any other breaking stories we get, but we do have a great show coming up, and we would love to get your thoughts on our fifth host for today, so please send us your DBL take on that. All right, guys, see you soon.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Because everyone's talking about this.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
You think this hair just naturally stays like that?
Log on and join our live conversation.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I do agree with you.
DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. It is Wednesday, August 7th. I'm here with Brandon, Jeff, Tori. I'm Sam, Al, and Erica have the day off. We will miss them, but let's get right to it. Well, Americans are on edge. Perhaps many of you, DBL Nation, are also on edge after the recent mass shootings. We're seeing a number of false alarms sending people into a panic. This was the scene in Times Square last night. Police say the sound of a motorcycle backfiring sparked a stampede of people screaming. I mean, just look at that footage. Then another false alarm in Utah. When a sign fell down at a Salt Lake City mall, police say someone yelled shots during this concert, sending everyone into a frenzy. And it's a similar story at a Louisiana Walmart. According to a 911 call, people started running and screaming when they thought they saw a gun. But again, no gun, just some men arguing. So DBL Nation, we want to hear from you. Are you on edge after these recent shootings? Head to dblvote.com. Please share with us how you're feeling. Jeff, do you feel on edge, or are you just more concerned about your sons at this point?
I'm just more concerned about my family. You know what I mean? This is a terrible thing going on, but at the same time, people are becoming more vigilant to what's going on. Yeah. Police officers, citizens, I don't like that everyone's running away, but I mean, it's fight or flight at that point. But people are getting used to the fact, sadly, because the government's not doing anything, I think it's up to the citizens now to step in and do what they can.
Wow, that is a very scary reality. That is a very harsh reality.
You kind of nailed it in a way of, I think Americans really look to the government in some ways, even though they hate the government, to stability in a way, right? So when something happens, you look to see what's coming out of the White House, right? And it's interesting to see that with the shooting, and then we look to the White House and there's sort of chaos there. There's nowhere to go for stability but each other in a weird way, right?
Well, hopefully that brings us together.
Right.
I think now more than ever, Americans need to find what unifies us rather than what divides us. And, you know, we all want to protect our children, ourselves, and we all want a better future. So I hope we can come together.
Absolutely. And Tori, we talked about this yesterday, how, you know, we kind of had a similar topic yesterday. And Tori was like, when she's out in public places, she kind of feels safe. She's not like looking for the exits. Me, I'm looking for exits.
Good for you.
I tell my sisters when they're out sometimes, I'm like, hey, share your location just so I know.
Good for you. I'm remiss. I am remiss.
And it's just where we are right now. I have a heightened sense of awareness wherever I go. And it's the only place I feel safe is at NFL games because there's security all over the place.
Just know
it's like
that
military all
Final thought.
Final thought, constant fight or flight isn't good for your psyche, and that's what we're all in. So try to find a time.
PTSD.
It is. So find a time if you can to find some meditation or relaxation, because constantly on edge is soldiers can't even be like that all the time. So just find a moment.
I will when our government does something.
I know. 55% of our DBL Nation are on edge. So we hear you, and please write us, share some of the things that you do as Brandon does. He checks the exits, and would love to hear that from you. Well, today the president is visiting Dayton, Ohio and El Paso, Texas after the recent tragedies. He just arrived there with First Lady Melania Trump. He says the visit is about promoting national unity. Let's watch.
No, I don't think my rhetoric has at all. I think my rhetoric is it brings people together.
But some argue his rhetoric is what's tearing this country apart. He was met with protests in Ohio, and we're expecting to see more in El Paso. Presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke is standing with those protesters in Texas. Take a look.
People in El Paso, by and large, do not want to see him here, understand that he is part of the problem, part of how we got to this point.
The president is firing back, saying, quote, Beto, phony name to indicate Hispanic heritage. O'Rourke should respect the victims and law enforcement and be quiet. Beto responded with, quote, 22 people in my hometown are dead after an act of terror inspired by your racism. El Paso will not be quiet, and neither will I.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't let that go of him saying that the rhetoric brings people together. We know that's not true. Even a Trump person likes the fact that when Trump says something, his base likes that he doesn't bring people together. That's part of what they like him being an outlier. So on this panel, I can't sit here and just say, that was a lie. That's not true. Trump's rhetoric doesn't bring people together. Secondly, when you want to respect the victims, I think being silent is the most disrespectful thing you can do. Doing something is respecting them. If you remember, what did the crowd shout out at the Ohio governor? Do something. We don't want silence, thoughts, and prayers. So that's all I have to say about that.
And what did the MLS captain do when he scored that goal? He went and yelled on the live field mic and yelled, Congress, do something. But I know a lot of people are saying Beto is being an opportunist right now. You know what? He does have an opportunity to stand up to the bully. This is this man's backyard. This is his hometown. 22 people died, and he has to stand up. He has the responsibility to stand up.
Well, I know that just hearing from our own DBL Nation, I love hearing from you. I do want to always present the other side. You know how I feel about this situation. And first of all, I think it should be a bipartisan issue that everybody denounces white nationalism. But many of you feel that there is a biased and unfair narrative when it comes to how we portray. Let's just look at Dayton, Ohio, and El Paso, right? So, Tori, what would you say to the point that you look at the shooter in Dayton, Ohio, left wing, you look at the shooter in El Paso, right wing. So they would say, why is there so much focus on the right wing person and not denouncing both of them?
Right. And if you didn't know, Trump recently, like seconds ago, did speak and say he denounces both sides. It echoes what he said in Charlottesville, the Antifa and the white supremacy. Here's the reason. First off, we haven't really confirmed much about Dayton, so I haven't done as much research. The El Paso shooter with that manifesto took months to write. It quoted Trump tweets. He drove 9 hours. That's a planned thing. He went specifically to shoot Mexicans. That kind of planning terrifies me more than maybe someone with a mental, and maybe I shouldn't be that way, but it seems more planned and premeditated and more egregious. Now, both are horrible. Both are horrible. But one seems like we're gaining, and the FBI is saying this is our biggest threat. So I'm listening to the FBI.
Right. Homeland Security and the FBI have said that white nationalism is on the rise, and that we need to handle it like the domestic terrorism that we've seen. So. All right, we're going to switch gears here. Monica Lewinsky is taking her infamous story to the FX network. She's producing the 3rd season of American Crime Story that will follow the scandals leading up to President Bill Clinton's impeachment hearings, along with Monica. Paula Jones, Linda Tripp will be main characters, of course, in the story. Actress Beanie Fieldstein will play Monica. She's Jonah Hill's younger sister and appeared in recent films like Lady Bird. Maybe you saw her in Booksmart. No word yet on who will play the Clintons. What do you think about this, Jeff? Do you think that America still wants to hear about this story, or do you think enough is enough?
I don't know. I feel both sides on this one. You know what I mean? Like, she wants it to go away. That's all she wants to say. She was a young kid. I'm all about making mistakes when you're young and learning from your mistakes.
But she's producing this.
At the same time, that's what I was about to say. She's profiting off of this. So if you want it to go away, maybe you should let it lay where it was. If you're making a story and retelling and reliving it again, listen, people are going to bring it up again. So I mean, so that's where I see both sides to this.
But I hear that point of view, but I also think the narrative, at least, has been fully a Bill Clinton narrative for like 20 years, and we haven't really seen a Lewinsky narrative. Not that this wasn't consensual and she did something wrong. She did. But I think it's interesting to get her point of view in this climate to find out. What I don't like is it's right by the 2020 elections. I think it's a terrible thing.
But I think
do you think it's going to hurt Democrats?
I think it'll hurt Democrats and people not to vote. I think it's not a great idea.
Why can't people separate Democrat and Republican? Why can't somebody say Bill Clinton's a sleaze, this person is a sleaze? Why does it have to one person represent all Democrats, one person represent all Republicans? That's exactly what's wrong with this country today.
Insane.
I'm sick of it.
It drives me insane that you have to stick up for that side because you're blue or you're red. It drives me insane.
Well, you all are multifaceted human beings. A lot of the people in the country see it in one way or the other because they have other things to think about.
But do you?
No, I think Bill Clinton was a huge sleaze bag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I do.
We just got somewhere in the studio. I think it was Rob, our camera guy. DBL is live. Coming up, the claws come out on the Real Housewives of New York reunion. Why the ladies went off on Countess Luann. Then 2 music icons unite. We'll tell you what brought Barbra Streisand and Ariana Grande together. And you, the viewer, are our 5th host. A Midwest town is banning city employees from using nicotine and tobacco to encourage healthier behavior. But does the ban go too far? Your comments about that coming up next.
Nation. Happy Wednesday. It's Hump Day here at Daily Blast Live. We hope you're having a great day. Travis is dancing behind the camera. We're having a great day here at Daily Blast Live. We are having some interesting conversations, some hard conversations, but as always, we're here to do it together with you. Let's go to the desk and see what's going on with Tori and Big Jeff and Brandon. Hey guys, what's happening up here?
So I have a comment here, Tori.
Okay.
Ty from Facebook says, I shouldn't have to shop online just because that's the only place to do it safely. I think that kind of ties into the rise of Amazon. That ties into the rise of online shopping because people don't feel safe in public. They don't feel safe at Walmart.
Rachel Jones wrote us in right before that and said, shop online.
Shop online.
And I think that's interesting. I don't want to do that because I don't want them winning. I have a thing with it. This is my thing. I don't want the terrorists to terrorize me. So I make it a very concerted effort to not be scared to go out and do things because otherwise they're winning. So although I'm going to be scared, I'm going to go to Target or Target, however you want to
Really?
go. I don't think they go to Target. Or wherever you guys go. Exactly, wherever you're going.
Terrorists?
They went to Walmart.
They went to Walmart. Yeah.
But I do hear
there's a crowd.
I went to a garlic festival. You know, like I don't.
Well, that's true.
Anytime I'm out somewhere. And we live here in Denver, Colorado. We've had the Aurora shooting here. We've had Columbine here. We had the
theater.
The other
the theater.
The theater shooting.
Is that the
that was
same
Aurora.
one?
That was. We've just had so many shootings here. I remember when we went to go see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I know that was a premiere, so that was more of a controlled setting, but my head was on the swivel the entire time. You thought about it.
I just went to watch Lion King with my son, and there wasn't many people in there, and some teenagers came in that I figured were like, I was sitting with my son, and they came up like both sides. They were just there to see the movie, but I was like, I thought about it because I'm like, what are a bunch of teenagers doing in Lion King?
Sad.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they were just there to watch Lion King, but I'm like, let's throw down, dude.
That's so sad.
You know what I mean?
Throw down,
Yeah.
have to throw down.
If you can, and I understand if you're scared, but try to live your life. Welcome back to DBL. It is time for Fifth House when we talk about what you're talking about. Dayton, Ohio is banning city employees from using tobacco and nicotine. They hope it will promote a healthier work environment and save money. But union leaders say it could lead to a worker's private life being further scrutinized. So DBL Nation, should employers be able to ban tobacco use? Brandon, take it away.
All right, Sheila from Facebook says, how is this even legal? I wonder how much obesity costs employers per year. Think about that, Sheila. You have to eat. You have to eat. You don't have to smoke cigarettes. So I look at it as you get drug tested for jobs. Why? What's wrong with that? And that's legal in certain states. What's wrong with testing people for having nicotine and smoking cigarettes? It's costing these companies billions and billions of dollars.
Because it's unconstitutional, and you don't have to eat cheeseburgers either. And if they made a rule about that, we'd be up in arms about it. So Candy from Facebook agrees with you. She says no one should have a problem with this because cigarettes are killing folks left and right. I commend Dayton for taking a stand and saving lives. Candy, I commend you for wanting to save lives, but this is highly, highly, highly unconstitutional. The ACLU of Ohio agrees with me. Here's why. Ready? You can't tell someone from a town what a person could do as a citizen that's legal in their personal behavior. You can't discriminate against that. That's why we left England. We wanted to have our own rights. So what's next? I can't have my hair in a dreadlock. I can't have a cheeseburger because of obesity. I can't have a beer. That is becoming way too slippery slope. So I'm uncomfortable with this completely.
Marvin from Facebook says, I'm sure smokers grandfathered into their current city position will now be harshly judged. Thanks for writing in. Here's my take on it. I think if you're a private company, you could do whatever you want. My brother's company says if you work out, here's your lunch. It's 45 minutes. If you work out, we'll give you an hour and 45 minutes, and we'll buy your membership.
So incentives.
So incentives. So I think a healthier environment, in this case, is a better environment.
That's cool.
And what about if I can't? What if I'm not a smoker? Why do you get a break every 15 minutes and I can't go outside? I'm all for banning smoking.
Okay.
Your brother's company hiring?
Hey now.
If you got a master's, yeah.
Luke from YouTube says, I'm a smoker, and I actually think this is a wake-up call for people to quit because many will have no choice if they want a city job. I also think about, secondhand smoke. But I tend to agree with Tori on this one. As much as I oppose smoking, as much as a small business owner, I understand the profit and the loss, and this is a big loss. I think it's a slippery slope.
All right, Sarah from Facebook says, I don't see how this is fair. 29 states and the District of Columbia prohibits discrimination based on legal activities outside the workplace, which includes smoking tobacco. I mean, I get what you're saying about
What about the incentives, though? Yeah. Wouldn't that be great if a company said, if we can help you quit smoking? So is there a better way to do this where you're empowering?
Right. And one is wonderful and one's highly unconstitutional. Again, what you just said, if it's in the private sector, you can do this. But if you're in the public sector, like a town, this is...
But one comes off discriminatory. The way Jeff and the way his brother is doing this comes off like I'm empowering you, because a happy, motivated employee is going to be a productive company.
It's proven. It's proven. If you, I know I don't want to discriminate, but if you're, the healthier you are, the better you are in shape, the more productive you are, you feel better about yourself, which makes for a better work environment. That's all I'm saying.
So it's I
like the incentives.
It's an investment. It is. Coming up on DBL, does recycling make men less masculine? The surprising new survey reveals what some guys really think. And DBL co-host and Big Brother alum Jeff Schroeder breaks down the latest episode of Big Brother in Reality Roundup, coming up next.
Hey guys, Kelly Schuberth here with the DBL Digital team. I'm tracking all the breaking and trending news for you right now, but it's time for Fast Blast, where I give you all the news you need to know in under 2 minutes. Let's get that timer up. Here we go. Have you tried Burger King's new Impossible Whopper? You may not be eating what you thought you were. The burger chain is admitting that its plant-based burger is vegetarian, but that it's cooked on the same griddle as its chicken and beef products. What the heck, Burger King? On behalf of all my vegetarian friends, this is unacceptable. This seems like a big fat Whopper fail to me. Have you seen the viral photo floating around the internet of a backless airplane seat? A lot of people freaked out thinking this is the future of flying because airlines are trying to cut so many costs. But don't worry, EasyJet says passengers would never be allowed to fly in a seat like this. But why is there a picture of a woman sitting in the seat then? Now, EasyJet says it's investigating and passengers' safety is its highest priority. But hey, I know I wouldn't sit in a backless chair for an entire flight. Let's ask our airport expert. Jeff?
Hell no. I'm not having that. I don't like when people with their seats back, but to take away the whole seat, we can't have that.
No. Talk about a stinky situation. Check out this viral photo of a toilet that exploded in Florida. The house was struck by lightning during a bad thunderstorm. Now, plumbers said it must have struck near the septic tank, and that's what caused the toilet to blow into pieces. There are a ton of gross potty jokes I could say right now, but let's just move on. A popular movie from my childhood is getting a reboot, but not everyone is happy about it. Kevin! That's right, Disney says it's planning to reboot Home Alone. Fans of the classic Christmas movie say the movie is perfect the way it is, and they're worried Disney is trying to ruin the franchise. Duh. They say the third Home Alone was already bad, so why try to remake it? Here's my thought. Unless I'm getting a cameo from Macaulay Culkin himself, I am fully against this reboot. This has been Fast Blast for you. Take care.
Welcome back to DBL. It's been a crazy week for the Real Housewives, so it is time for Reality Roundup. Yep, first up on the Real Housewives. First of all, we got Jeff with us. I'm really excited. This is gonna be good. Get ready, Jeff. First up on the Real Housewives of New York, the ladies call out Luann for being self-centered. Uh-oh, check it out.
Where's your daughter going to school this fall? I don't know. We haven't even talked about that yet.
You didn't ask?
I don't even know anything. You don't know where her daughter's going to school? She hasn't told me. We haven't seen each other.
I texted you.
You pen. That's insane. That's amazing.
I didn't hear anything they said till that's insane. So I don't even know what's going on.
So you don't think Luann is self-centered?
I have no idea who Luann is.
She's the Countess. She's the Count. Anybody that calls themselves the Countess.
She's at fault.
Although I love Luann.
I do too, but my favorite really is the Bethany reactions to Luann.
I know.
She's just like, you're a snake.
I know.
You're insane.
I give Luann a pass this season. She was working on her sobriety. If she needed to focus on herself to get sober, I'm giving her a pass.
You're giving the Countess a pass?
I give the Countess a pass.
All right, fine.
Okay. Oh, camera one. Here we go. Next on Dance Moms, Abby Lee Miller has one student make a hard choice.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Take a look.
Michelle, I'm going to ask you to step outside, please.
Come on, Abby.
Step outside the room. You are not going to dance if your mother doesn't follow my rules.
Yes, so please go upstairs.
My daughter's choosing to stay with this deranged lunatic that's a convicted felon over me.
Yay, I win. I always choose me.
Man. I mean, what was the one thing you said while we were watching that packet?
I'm like, didn't she just get out of jail?
Yeah. Yes.
And now she's
back on her show.
Dancing again.
I know.
Who's the new warden in town?
Good one. do we want to give Abby Lee Miller a second chance?
No, we do not.
You do not?
No, and I know comeback with Cobb, Erica would be very upset with me. She deserves the comeback she deserves, and I don't think she deserves.
Erica always says you get the comeback that you're willing to earn.
And I don't think she's earning much with this kind of behavior.
Ooh, DBL Nation, let us know if you think she should get a second chance. Well, finally, on Big Brother, the house guests have been locked inside for over a month. Can you imagine? And they turned to lip reading to stay entertained. Check out Christy trying to guess the phrase.
Beg for ducks.
Bad? Beg.
Yes.
Beg for?
Ducks.
Sets?
Ducks.
Stocks?
Ducks.
Socks. Beg for socks.
Ducks.
Beg for ducks.
Yeah!
Beg for ducks? They look insane. They're bored.
I'm telling you, the downtime in the house is something that people do not understand.
So what would you do?
Oh my God, thank God I had my wife there. That's where like we really fell in love in that house, even though we were friends. But there's still a famous like saying that people still come up to me to this day. We're laying there, I'm like, what kind of animal would you want to be? You know, like an eagle? And she's like, I'd rather be a squirrel. Like it's this really crazy line. That's how bored we are.
It's almost like you guys are like permanently at a campfire. Yeah. Just talking about like nothingness.
And you wake up and you're like, there's nothing to do till Thursday. And you just, it's Tuesday. And you watch literally, you watch like, we watched a spider make a web.
Can you watch TV?
I'm not even kidding.
Can you watch TV?
No, there's no book, nothing.
No books?
Nothing.
No crosswords?
Oh, no.
And you can,
I'm out.
Is there a gym?
Yeah, there's a gym.
Okay.
But sadly, you get so tired. You're like, I'm just going to work out all day. And you get so tired, you're like, I'll do it later. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll work out next week.
Because there's no
you
schedule.
just don't even work. Yeah.
They say schedules keep you on
and
point.
when you get out of there, when you go home, you're kind of like all over the place. You got to regroup.
And they have psychologists for you, correct? Wait,
if you need them, yes, absolutely.
Did you use them?
No, luckily. Maybe I should have.
This has been Reality Roundup with Jeff. Yay! We'll be right back.
Live. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? That was an edition of Reality Roundup. I just really wanted to do that part. Let's get back to the fifth host. Remember, we were talking about that the city in Ohio, Dayton, is screening its potential employees and employees for nicotine. They're not allowed to smoke cigarettes anymore. So I want to hear what you all have to say about this. Let's get to Mary Hellerigal says, years ago, I worked for Samsonite in Denver. We're here in Denver. She says, there was a sign in the lobby of the employment office that said, if you work for Samsonite, you do not smoke. If you smoke, you do not work here. So one thing, I agree with that, but what Tori would say, that's a private company. She's saying that Dayton is a city, so they're making this into a city ban. I should also throw in there that the city worked with some of the unions of Dayton. They had input on this. They didn't like it as a whole, but they had input on it, and they eventually passed the law. Joy on Facebook says, I could care less if the person next to me smokes. Get your work done, be respectful to coworkers. What you do after work is your choice. Live and let live. I say, I agree with that as well, but at the same time, healthcare, these companies are spending billions, like hundreds of billions of dollars on healthcare. So if a person is willingly smoking, they're smoking cigarettes, which you know causes lung cancer, causes all these sorts of diseases. The company's having to pay for that. So all they're trying to do is promote more of a healthy living. Brandy Sprong says maybe the town needs to come together and talk about gun control and press their senators and House of Representatives instead of saying you can't smoke. Great way to state the obvious, Brandy. I'm with you on that one. Robin O'Connell, watching on KSDK in St. Louis, says, I quit playing smoking. My choice. Leave smokers alone. Most smokers are extremely considerate.
I understand that, and you guys get your 15-minute smoke break to go outside, but what I'm saying is how the company, what it's costing the company. The company is trying to promote more of a healthy lifestyle. And I know people are saying, oh, like Tori said earlier, she's like, oh, what about cheeseburgers? They may ban cheeseburgers. Cheeseburger, you have to eat. You don't have to smoke cigarettes. That's my only thing. Ed C. Schneider, watching on 9 News here in Denver, he says, no, this is a serious constitutional issue here. You cannot do stuff like this. Just know, I see a successful legal challenge to this where it will be overthrown. I hope so, and you know what, if it is overthrown, we're obviously going to talk about it. So we want you guys to keep writing in. How do you feel about it? All you smokers out there that are working for a company, how does, what's the process? What's the legality with that? Keep writing in. We got DBL Car Chill coming up next.
Welcome back to DBL. You're running late, so you grab some fast food. We've all been there. Tori and Elle have some tips on to-go food in this DBL Drive presented by who, y'all?
Car Chill!
That's right.
I think the drive-through, in a weird way, is kind of like it's deceptive because you're like, oh, well, this is going to be faster.
Right.
Perfect. But what if everybody's thinking that?
Yeah, I know.
I think the little secret hidden gem of life is that you go inside. Much fewer people, you go in there, you get that one-on-one. Give me the fluffy croissant. Don't give me the one that looks like somebody.
Don't give me that weird fry.
I don't want the one that looks like somebody put the people's elbow on it. I want a nice fluffy croissant with ham and cheese in there. You're definitely getting a tip from old Al.
I see, and maybe a tip of the hat even.
Well, I'm not wearing a hat.
I know, but it's an expression.
Joe Louis fight.
When you're starving and on the move, a drive-thru can be the perfect solution to fuel you up. Use a shower caddy to make your meals easy to reach and pass. Don't wait until hunger hits you. Store some snacks in the car for whenever you get a craving. And for peace of mind, get an auto protection plan with CarShield. CarShield protects their members from the high cost of auto repairs. Call 1-800-505-9619 for a free quote.
Do you guys ever get bored in that car? It's like you guys at Big Brother. You always find something to talk about.
It's true, and they say we're done, you guys can go back home, and then we spend another half hour chatting.
And you guys then go get us donuts.
Yeah, I was doing my cross stitch. I totally enjoyed myself. I had a great time.
Love it.
Al did.
Here's what's coming up next on DBL.
The old gang's back together as 90210 returns tonight. Jenny Garth dishes on a backstage fight that almost got physical. Then, does saving the planet make you less of a man? Wait till you hear why some men refuse to recycle. And aging in Hollywood. Stars Cameron Diaz, Jennifer Garner, and Demi Moore share their experiences later on DBL.
Hi, DBL Nation. With me on my phone here, I have the list of the best and worst airports in the country, and I'll give you the bad news first. Coming in, the top is Chicago Midway.
Oh yeah,
Kelly agrees.
That airport
there we go.
is terrible. Terrible.
I've been okay. I don't know why. I was trying to think of this list to tell stories about it. I've been to both the top and the worst, and I don't remember any of them. I don't know if I have this thing called like airport blackout, where I don't remember the airport. But the top of the list is San Diego International Airport. Kelly?
I don't think I've been there.
I've been there. I don't remember. I've been to Chicago. I thought Chicago's was cool, if I remember correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong, DBL Nation.
You're thinking of O'Hare.
Help me with, am I thinking of O'Hare?
O'Hare is cool.
O'Hare is cool. Which one's this then?
Midway.
Midway.
Ugh.
Maybe I haven't been to Midway. Someone give me some facts about Midway. Maybe I've only been to O'Hare, and that's why it's in the burbs?
Yeah.
I don't think so. You're right. I might have only been to O'Hare. So at least Chicago, you have like another good airport. But let me know what you think about this list. What's your favorite and least favorite airport? Let me know in the comments, and I'll talk to you next break. See ya.
Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Because everyone's talking about this.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
You think this hair just naturally stays like this?
Log on and join our live conversation.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I do agree with you.
DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. Stephanie Jones joining the panel. Let's get started. Hey, Steph. Well, the wait is finally over. The reboot of BH 90210 premieres tonight on Fox. They even recreated the original opening credits. But what fans can't stop buzzing about is the reunion between Shannon Doherty and Jenny Garth. And it's no secret the actresses did not get along back in the 90s. This week on Watch What Happens Live, Jenny talked about their worst fight on set. Listen.
Things did you tussle?
I can only remember one incident, and that was when, we took it outside.
You did?
Yeah.
Did it actually get physical?
Yeah, I'm a Midwestern girl.
Right.
And I spent some time in Glendale, Arizona.
Okay.
So that makes you tough.
Wow. Apparently,
Arizona.
Apparently, Jenny and Shannon put aside their differences for the reboot, but we've been hyping this show for a long time. So you guys be tuning in, DBL Nation. Chime in by heading to dblvote.com. I, for one, cannot wait. And you used to watch 90210 in your college dorm room.
Oh, for sure.
And loved it, and then people started watching it with you.
Yeah, absolutely. People pretend they don't watch the show. I just put it on DVR. It's happening. I'm not happy about the BH 90210.
I know. Well, they got to reinvent it somehow.
I don't know. I'm not all about the IHOP. I like the International House of Pancakes.
Okay.
But I'm excited. I love the concept about it because they're playing themselves, not their characters. Kind of like Curb. I don't think it's going to be as good as Curb, but I'm excited to see what they do with
I can't wait. Now, in England, was this a hit?
This was on, but it really wasn't a big deal.
What?
So I don't have the hype and excitement that you guys do.
Steph, this was huge in America.
I've heard it was massive.
No, massive.
I've heard this was like the show.
Yes.
And I mean, like, the concept sounds all right.
I loved it.
Do you really think I should tune in and give this one a go?
Well,
Am I
think if you didn't watch the original, I don't think you're going to love it as much for nostalgia purposes
Thank
only.
you. I've never seen an
watched
episode of that.
Okay, well, Jeff and I.
And then she just lost me saying, I'm from the streets of Glendale. Like, come on now.
That's ridiculous.
I'm from
ridiculous.
The Midwest. I'm like, okay, the Midwest are tough. You know, Iowa football, you know.
You should never brag about violence, and she certainly just did.
I didn't want to go there.
No, I know you. I'm saying she did.
No, I know, but, you know.
Oh, okay. You were commending her?
Yeah, a little bit, but not so. BH 90210. This is the thing tonight.
What's happening? I'm in.
Get your popcorn ready.
I can't wait. Let's see what our own DBL Nation has to say. Will you be watching the reboot? 57% of you. Oh yeah, Jeff and I too. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Well, last night it was a moment that could bring any diva lover to tears. Ariana Grande made a surprise appearance at Barbra Streisand's concert in Chicago. The powerhouse pair sang "No More Tears, Enough is Enough." And after the duet, 26-year-old Ariana posted this picture and said she was going to pass out. I mean, these are two pop culture icons.
Yeah, this is massive. This is kind of, so I know Brandon wasn't as familiar with Barbra Streisand.
You're just going to throw me under the bus.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying you weren't as familiar.
You're just going to throw me under the bus like that. She's from Meet the Fockers. I said it, yes.
Yeah, but you're knowing her from a movie in which she played a very small role. She is like an icon. She's one of the biggest stars. She can sing, she can act, she does theatre, she does everything.
I couldn't tell by that song.
But does that not make you think something if Ariana Grande is saying, you know, this is her icon? Can you not see with someone who you relate to, like how much of a big deal this is?
I don't think you should waste your time convincing Brandon that
I love Barbra Streisand.
Oh, you do?
I love her from the original Star is Born.
You never saw the original.
It wasn't the original, actually. It was one of the previous versions.
It's one of them.
I'm shocked right now, but not surprised.
But why? Did you see Meet the Fockers?
Yes.
It was a great movie.
Okay, Brandon.
He wants a chimichanga.
Funny Girl, I'll let you watch Funny Girl. Watch Funny Girl, and then we can talk. I just got to bring in this comment because we are live, and I know this goes back to 90210, but Tom says, can't believe it turned into 90210 blows.
That's something Jeff was saying.
Why do you point at me?
Just because I just thought you would get a kick out of it. You didn't think it was funny?
Tom, it hasn't even aired yet. Why are you so cynical? Take it easy.
I love it. Oh,
man,
Tom,
go outside and get a smile.
Yeah, watch it first, Tom, and then tomorrow you can tell us if it's 90210 blows. All right, Beyonce is making history again, this time as a work of art. Raquel Villanueva, please share the news at the moment.
I will, Sam. I hope Brandon recognizes Queen Bee as the music royalty she is, because now she's becoming a part of history at the Smithsonian. The museum is adding Beyonce's Vogue cover to the National Portrait Gallery. This photo was the first ever to be shot by a black photographer in the magazine's 125-year history. Tyler Mitchell, who captured the shot, tweeted, "A year ago today, we broke the floodgates open." No word yet on when it'll go on display, but it's a permanent part of the collection.
Since you wanted to stab me in the back there, Raquel, yes, I know who Beyonce is. And I think if you take some sort of DBL take right now and we say, who do people know more, Beyonce or Barbra Streisand, we're going to go with Beyonce. DBL Nation has my back.
All right, let's
do
take a poll.
Let's do
it.
Can
we set that up? Our producers are shaking their heads, so we will set that up.
Hate to give y'all more work, but
we will see. We will see. Any Pitbull fans in the house? Pitbull fans? We got a couple. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Step 2. He dropped a new music video for his song 3 to Tango. Check it out. But keep your eyes peeled for a special celebrity cameo.
I didn't see anybody.
Any guesses? See if you can guess who it is after this clip. Right. Okay, look at this clip now. On his dancing shoes for the first time in decades. That is cool, Steph. You love it.
I am loving it. So obviously, for a long time, John Travolta wore a wig, and no one really knew. I didn't know. Our very own Bert DeBrow, he can call out a wig.
He can.
Or a toupee.
He's good at it.
He can call it out, and he said, "Oh, I knew this was his hair wasn't real." But in this, he's obviously channeling his inner pit bull, and those moves, he's got it.
Oh, he still has it.
Fever just like a couple weeks ago. Unbelievable. I love that movie.
I know.
So much.
Saturday Night Fever, Grease.
I really thought that was Pitbull.
I'm just glad that he's embracing, as Stephanie said, he's embracing his natural self.
Yes.
He looks good.
He does.
I mean.
Yeah, because I had a gray the other day and I went crazy.
Saw you pluck it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, you made a face like a baby. Do you know what women have to go through all the time? And you get one hair pulled out of your chin.
Wait, what'd you say?
Wow. So she has bushy eyebrows.
There's nothing wrong with my eyebrows.
You have beautiful eyebrows, Steph. Beautiful eyebrows.
Stay over there, Stephanie.
They say there's nothing wrong with your gray. You're the one pulling it out.
Enough. A new study out says there is a reason why you never see men using reusable bags at the grocery store. It's because, quote, not associated with manliness. Well, I disagree. Caring about the environment is attractive. And here to support my argument are famous men who hotly remembered a reusable bag. Exhibit A, Hugh Jackman. The man is bundled up for the cold, but his care for the environment is hot, hot, hot. Exhibit B, DJ Calvin Harris once dated Taylor Swift. Now he's saving the planet. You go. And Exhibit C, Samuel L. Jackson. I dare you to tell Samuel L. Jackson to his face that carrying a tote is not manly. So enough with the internet.
It's not about carrying the tote. It's about on right now. Can we go back to Samuel L. Jackson, what he's wearing? Look at grocery shopping. No, you're not wearing that to the grocery store.
Why?
Look at his shoes. That's terrible. That's not manly at all. No,
man, first of all, the fact that you're using terms like that's not manly at all bothers me. Because it's too gender.
That's not gonna.
Yes,
that doesn't bother you.
It does bother me.
Things that will bother
that bothers me.
Because
kids, Brandon just got fired.
If a man wants to wear flip-flops to the grocery store and have a reusable, environmentally friendly bag, I don't want them to feel like that they're going to be coined a certain less manly term. I don't think that's fair.
No. I'll get your back on this, Sam. I definitely use reusable bags. My trunk is filled with them.
Good for you.
If you go to Whole Foods, you actually get a dime, or you could donate a dime.
I was going to say.
I donate my dime.
That's why I was going to say, right, Jeff guaranteed. So in England, it costs 5 pence, which is like 5 cents, every time you want a plastic bag. So they're trying to discourage you from using it, right? I was going to say, I guarantee Jeff is doing it to save money or to get that dime back.
So
yes,
you call
are.
him cheap. She's saying you're cheap.
Wait a second.
No, you are.
That's That's fair. That's fair to say, but that's not why I do it. Have you ever seen pictures like the ocean filled with trash bags? And then I always bring my son and I teach him, hey, bring your own bag. I'm trying to be a better dad, even if it's a little thing.
I just think we need to be careful with gender stereotypes.
I use brown paper bags.
That's awesome. Good for you.
That are given to you, or that you
But do you agree that we need to be careful with gender stereotypes?
Yeah, I can see why. I just didn't like what Samuel L. Jackson had on. All that money and you got some kids on.
It was a free T-shirt. It was a late night with Jimmy Fallon. It was a free T-shirt.
Little swag bag, if you will. Researchers have finally found a solution to an issue plaguing our summers: how to get seagulls to leave you and your food alone. Researchers say the birds are more likely to steal food when they can avoid the gaze of their victims. So if you want those pesky seagulls to leave you alone at the beach and your picnic, of course, stare those suckers down.
Exactly.
I don't think this is true.
No, I've seen it happen.
No
it is
way.
true.
Stare them out.
Well, I've never stared them out, but all the time, my husband and I would go to this little tiny secluded beach in Malibu, and for some reason, pigeons would always come to we would bring a picnic.
Pigeons?
Seagulls. I meant to say seagulls, sorry. Seagulls would come and they'd want to eat our picnic, and I would see them do this with their eyes. They really do not want to make eye contact with you. So I believe it.
So they're cross-eyed.
No, they don't want to make eye contact with you because then they feel like, then they feel like, oh no, Stephanie's gonna know.
Maybe they're gonna they feel like you're poaching. If you look at them, you're poaching them.
Don't get on board with this.
No, but maybe if they think you're looking at them, you're like poaching them or your eyes on them, whereas they can be like subtle and like.
Yes, exactly. They're
more of a sneaker than a proud stealer.
That's exact. They don't want confrontation. They do not want confrontation. They just want your.
I mean, look at those little eyes.
They just want your lunch.
What did y'all have for lunch?
Yeah, what's up?
Like, what?
They just want your lunch. Trust me.
You think so?
Yeah, they'll get it.
But if you look at them, they'll.
Yeah, they don't want confrontation. They don't. They want to avoid a fight.
They're
at all
from the
costs.
mean streets of Glendale.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well, that would be the opposite of your point.
Okay.
Right? Because they don't want to fight.
That's the opposite. Okay. She said she's from there. That's why she wants to fight.
I'm the random person on the panel. You know, I just got to make sure you guys are on your toes.
You're keeping us on our toes, all right. Coming up on DBL, a grandma's regret of never seeing the ocean turned into the ultimate adventure with her grandson, how he stepped up to make sure all of her wishes came true, and 3 Hollywood powerhouses chat about aging in the spotlight. The discussion when DBL comes back.
Talking obviously about our tote bags, manly, but more specifically recyclable ones. Well, Jeff's not.
What's
not
up?
I was saying, do you use recyclable bags?
Yes. I mean, not all the time. There's times where I don't.
As it said, less manly.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't at all. As long as I remember just to get them.
I love wearing pink. Yeah, that's not. I don't think that's something that's manly. For me, it's I can't remember to bring recyclable bags. I Uber everywhere. Like, where am I gonna carry a recyclable bag?
I don't remember.
See, my thing is, sometimes you forget. That's fine. But then, if I get like a plastic bag, I bring my lunch in a plastic bag. I keep a gangster over here.
Mean streets of Glendale.
Yeah.
How much money do you suppose you save by using those bags?
I give it to charity. Because they ask you if you want to give it to charity.
Oh.
That's really good.
So I give it to charity. So if everyone's bringing their own bag for a dime, that's a lot of money. Wherever that money's going, who knows? It's probably going in Jim Whole Foods pocket, whoever he is. So, but anyways, it sounds like a great thing.
Yeah, in England, every plastic bag you buy, you're charged 5 cents. So that's the equivalent, like we call it 5 pence, 5 cents. So you're charged, and then they do it on purpose so that you bring back and you save your
That's how it is in LA. That's how it is in
What's wrong
California.
with brown paper bags? I like brown paper bags.
Because
You
you're
gotta
still
take them
chopping
home
down
and
trees.
use them as trash cans.
Here's another reason.
I use them as trash cans.
But here's my thing. With recyclable bags, you could put them over your shoulder and like all my heavy stuff in there, because I'm always buying juice, this, that, like heavy stuff, creamer. So it's always big. If I bring a paper bag, they got to double bag it. I'm going to walk out like this guy, you know what I mean?
I'm using a bag, I'm not putting it off.
See, I do. I don't care.
I'm not putting it off my shoulder.
I don't care.
That's not happening.
I'm definitely putting it on my shoulder. It's way more comfortable, and I don't care, because if someone makes fun of me, guess what? I'm in the streets of Chicago, not Arizona. We can handle
In
this.
California, it's actually.
Welcome back to DBL. A group of A-list actresses are opening up to In Style magazine about aging in Hollywood. Jennifer Garner talked about what it was like starting a family and going from hot girl of the moment to quickly being defined by pregnancies and babies. The 47-year-old went on to say she doesn't have the offers coming in like she did earlier in her career. So that's the thing. I mean, you feel like that, you know, Stephanie, we've talked about this. I mean, just being a woman I would imagine any industry, you feel like that you have to choose between starting a family and your career. And I think that's why I held off having kids for so long, and it shouldn't be that way. But you do feel penalized to some degree, especially given in this country, we don't have any mandated family leave.
No, and I think there's not enough support, and there's not enough. I mean, I say this all the time, that America is still very macho driven. It is still a man's world in America, and I think there are huge steps that are being made towards changing that, but especially in our industry, it's so prevalent. And I think as well, the moment you have a baby, I think especially in acting, that instantly everyone, like all the directors, all the producers will see you differently, and the roles that you were so used to having are automatically gone. And I think that's not right and that's not fair. But I think casting directors will always hopefully play you and put you in the right roles that you are specific and you're right for. But I do think it's too much pressure on women, and I do think that we're made to feel very unsafe in our jobs, and then it does result in people holding back. And now she's 47 and she's saying, well, what am I meant to do?
Do a mom role.
But there is a double standard.
No, there's not, because if I was in LA still going out on auditions, I'd be going out for dad roles.
What did you say? You said you were having to dye your hair when you were younger because you couldn't get the roles that were suitable for your age.
And it didn't work for me, so I just accepted that I'm getting older, and that's what I'm categorizing.
You wasn't older, you were in your 20s.
Listen, I appreciate what you're saying, but you can't be 47 and try to play a 22-year-old.
That's a fair point. I think she was talking about right when she started having kids, so she's reflecting
But you're
back.
a mom, and so your character should now transition over to what you're more relatable
But women get
about.
penalized for having children, especially.
I don't know. I see what you're saying, but I don't know if that's completely true. Because for men, I'm telling you, it happens for me. I can't speak for other men, but there was an age where everything I went out for was strictly dad roles. And I was in my young 30s, and I was still looking good, you know, whatever. And I was,
Feel it, buddy.
No, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, it is a double standard just saying women aren't treated right, because I'm telling you how I was treated, and that's the honest truth.
Well, women, in my opinion, get signed off like, okay, she's going to be gone for 10 months. She's pregnant. People think it's like some sort of an illness where you can do both. You can juggle both. I'm an example of juggling both, but many corporations, not this corporation, thank God for Tegna for believing in me while I was pregnant and employing me while I was pregnant. But many companies will not, and I know it's discriminatory, but they'll find loopholes where they don't want to give that woman that opportunity because they feel like she'll be signed off. And that's not fair.
I get it. You're taking it now to the whole country. We're talking about an actress here that's 47 and she says, I didn't get to play the good-looking. You're 47. Play a 47-year-old. That's all. I'm not bringing this to the rest of the country.
Fair enough.
I think you can still play the hot girl, Jennifer. Just saying.
Yes, Steph.
You definitely can.
Definitely.
We'll be right back. Good combo.
I'm Dr. John Kudrowski. I'm a professional ski mountaineer, mountain guide. I'm an author and a keynote speaker as well, and I've been up on Everest 4 times. Now I'm going to give you the 4 main things to consider when you're climbing Everest, and the first thing is travel. So when you're traveling over to climb Mount Everest, travel is about $2,000. You'll arrive in Kathmandu, and then if you're climbing the south side, you take a plane to Lukla and start trekking. If you're climbing the north side, you take a plane to Lhasa and you drive to base camp. Next is room and board. And for Mount Everest, there's a lot of little pieces to this. There's the trekking in to base camp. You can stay at really nice lodges and tea houses. Some of these expeditions have big dome tents with pool tables and ping pong tables and even a bar. Then you got to think about going up the mountain as well, and we have dining tents and cook tents in one of our camps called Advanced Base Camp, and then you also will be staying in a tent in the different camps. So there's a lot of lodging options, and this option costs you about $8,000. Now, what about the gear to climb Mount Everest? Because you're obviously not going to go up there in this. So the essential gear you're going to need to climb Mount Everest includes bottled oxygen, crampons to go on your boots, an ice axe, of course, and a big down suit. to withstand the 30 or 40 below temperatures. Now, for the most important part of climbing Mount Everest, you're gonna need a mountain guide. We'll also hire you a personal Sherpa, and those items will run you about $50,000, but they're very important. So on Everest, I've seen price ranges going from the low end, $50,000, the high end, $100,000. At the end of the day, you're gonna be dropping about 75 grand in order to climb the highest mountain in the world. Get ready to cash in your child's college fund or maybe even mortgage your house.
Welcome back to DBL. Now today's Hard Threats is all about a determined dad who will stop at nothing to make sure his blind son experiences the world. Get your tissues ready. Here's their story.
After his son lost his sight to cancer, this dad resolved to show his little boy the world. Nolan Desmond was diagnosed with a rare eye cancer as a baby. After rounds of surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation, he eventually lost his sight.
He's been blind for over half his life.
Despite Nolan's blindness, his dad Matt wanted to make sure he could see the world. Matt takes 3-year-old Nolan to places with water so Nolan can hear and feel them.
Water. You feel it.
It ended up kind of being a tradition.
Matt documents all of Nolan's adventures, hoping one day his son will be able to see everywhere he's been.
I love you.
That was so beautiful. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Okay, DBL Nation. Oh, you okay there, buddy? I got a little. Let's get to some of y'all's comments. Let's swap this out here. We got Hector Jada or Hector Hada says, "Ha, at Brandon London, the streets of Glendale, AZ is no joke. South Phoenix used to be bad back in the early 90s. Look, I need to go to Phoenix in like a couple months, so no beef to South Phoenix or no beef to Glendale. It was just funny how the lady from Beverly Hills, BH 90210 was like, I'm from the Midwest and I spent some time, in Glendale, like in the streets of Glendale.
Yeah,
and I was just like, your delivery was a little off. The delivery was a little off. You know, Debbie from Facebook says, are bees afraid of statues too? I guess we're talking about the seagulls. If you look at a seagull, because I think this is in reference, if you look at, no way that's true. If you look at a seagull, it's gonna like be like, oh, he looked at me and then go away. Like, no, if that seagull wants your lunch, if it wants your Lunchable is gone. Arath Resendez says, grocery chains should stop having plastic bags available. I bet more people would bring their own, like at Sam's Clubs, no bags, reusable boxes, or reusable bags. Hey, we got this place, this is a makeup, by the way. We got this place here in Denver called Natural Grocers, and you either bring reusable bags or they give you boxes. Like they give you the cardboard boxes. I love the boxes. I take those home. But I like using brown paper bags. I'm one of those type of guys. Leah Bailey on Facebook says, my dad only hired married guys with kids, more reliable. I wonder what story that was for.
Oh.
I wonder what story that's for.
Well, see, now it's sexist. I wasn't trying to be sexist before. I'm just telling you how my career went in Los Angeles. That's definitely sexist.
Yeah.
But your roles change as a male, too, as opposed to a female. They're both the same. As you get older, you play an older character. There's a handful of people who make it to their mid-30s, maybe early 40s, and they still look like they're 30 or 25. Good for you. Maybe you could play those roles. The majority of America, 99%, look their age. Yeah. You know what I mean? So play your age.
And you see this in sports. I mean, like, you know, coming from a professional football background, as guys got older, they wouldn't get the same routes anymore. Routes meaning, you know, the route you run to get the ball. If you used to be one of those guys who, you know, you're getting all the jailbreak screens, you're running digs, you're doing all that. You get older, you don't have that same athleticism or that same speed. So they're going to get that to a younger guy because it's the younger guy's time now. The older guy, you've had to develop yourself
into another type of receiver. Same thing in basketball. Some guys, they can't jump and dunk the way they used to, so what do? They develop a jump shot. It's all about longevity.
And that one weird person I said, the 1%er, Vince Carter.
Vince Carter.
Dude, he just signed again. He's 42 years old. He signed with the Atlanta Hawks. Holy cow.
Earlier in the show, Brandon made a bold claim that Beyonce is more famous than Barbra Streisand. So we want you to help us settle this debate. Go to dblvote.com. Let us know who is more famous, Beyonce or Babs.
Was Babs in Lion King?
Yeah, but you have to.
They're of a slightly different generation.
Exactly. It's what generation is going to be voting.
Say my name, say my name.
I'll tell you what, I do not think if we had Beyonce here right now, Beyonce would say, are you kidding me, Brandon? This is an icon. I'm not saying Beyonce's not an icon, but she hasn't had the longevity of that career.
Yeah.
I think she will. Believe me, she's queen bee.
How do you know Beyonce would say that, though?
Because I think Beyonce's gracious.
I think she'd be respectful to someone who came before her, who paved the way for... No, I know. I'm just saying that she would say, like, you know, this is like a female icon who's, like, set the scene in, like, music. Not just in music, in acting, in theatre. She's, like, multi-talented.
I'm losing big
Steph,
time.
who's more famous?
Barbra Streisand is 79% more famous than Beyonce.
What do y'all listen? What does DBL listen to? What's on your playlist?
Not to say that Beyonce's not current and hot right now, and she will be for a long time. It's just Barbra Streisand has been around forever, and she is an icon, and she deserves the respect.
There will be some young girl in like, say, another 20, 30 years, and they'll be going, who's more famous?
Beyonce
Princess Poppy Face or Beyonce? Let's put it to the vote, and then everyone will say Beyonce.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know. I couldn't think of a little pop star name. I don't
buy that website. We have to give a big DBL shout out to an inspiring duo capturing hearts on the internet. Meet 89-year-old Grandma Joy and her grandson Brad. They're on the ultimate road trip together so far, visiting 29 national parks. Brad went on the trip after his grandma said she regretted never seeing the ocean nor the mountains. They hope this journey will let other young people know you're never too cool to hang out with your grandparents. This is special. So cute.
I think that's awesome, but what does Brad do for a living?
I know, just like, maybe he's a teacher and he's on summer vacation.
Oh, there you go. Sorry, Brad. I do appreciate what you're doing. I think that's amazing.
Maybe he's doing a gap year.
But I was like, man, I would love to do that.
Or a gap year, yeah.
Gap year?
Yeah, well, you take a year.
Yeah, you have a year out,
Like
but you go traveling and you do all the things in your life that you want to do before you get stuck into work, or you have a baby, or you progress
after college, maybe. Or
it's a gap year. Yes, you are unemployed.
Yeah, maybe you saved money.
Some people go around and do like little jobs. So they might be like working in a little cafe. They might be working in a bar. They might be doing
post delivery. So he took a gap year, and then Bubby had to pay for all of his travel adventures.
No, we don't know that. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye, guys.
Hey guys, Kelly Schubert here with the DBL Digital team. I'm tracking all the breaking and trending news for you right now. And I do have a story that's trending. I'm hoping Alex can get the video up. Actually, I'll just bring it up for you here, and let's see if Travis can zoom in for us. There's a Florida community, and there are crabs all over the Florida community. They're just crawling everywhere. Nobody knows what to do. It's a crab invasion. And I don't dislike crabs, but I do not want... Oh my God, look at them all scurrying about.
You're being a bit crabby.
Tori, would you be okay with this?
No, I'm actually, I don't like any... The infestations scare me a lot, but I do want to... that's not good, actually. That's
you have another story for us.
Well, yeah, I want you guys to check it out and tell me what you think. Green shirt guy is trending on Twitter.
Oh.
And a woman protested with her right to do so about with a Trump hat on and went crazy and was like, get out of our country. And the camera, it's an amateur just holding it. It's a town hall, I think. And a guy in a green shirt is just sitting there hysterically laughing.
Oh, no.
And she gets taken out, but it's sort of just like a release for people,
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, I'm
so
gonna go
he's
look it up.
number
You should
2
too,
on
Nation.
and people don't know his name, so it's Green Shirt Guy. So it's just a funny thing that got caught by the internet, but it's interesting to see.
I love
people
random
need a
things
laugh.
like that.
I think like that.
A little release. I agree with
you.
you.
A little release.
All right, guys, we'll talk about that soon. I'll check it out for you. Bye.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Because everyone's talking about this.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
You are totally off base here.
Log on and join our live conversation.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I do agree with you.
DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. It is Wednesday, August 7th. I'm here with Brandon, Jeff, Tori. I'm Sam, Al, and Erica have the day off. Let's get right to it. Well, Americans are on edge, rightfully so, after the recent mass shootings. We're seeing a number of false alarms sending people into panic. Check out this footage. This was the scene in Times Square last night. Police say the sound of a motorcycle backfiring sparked a stampede of people screaming. Then another false alarm in Utah when a sign fell down at a Salt Lake City mall. Police say someone yelled shots during this concert, sending everyone into a frenzy. And it's a similar story at a Louisiana Walmart. According to a 911 call, people started running and screaming when they thought they saw a gun, but again, there was no gun, just some men arguing. So DBL Nation, considering everything that's happened as of recently, we want to hear from you. Are you on edge after these recent shootings? Head to dblvote.com. Are you, Jeff? I just consider you someone that's rational. Are you concerned about your livelihood, your children? Do you go into a mall or anywhere and kind of look at exits?
Yeah,
no?
I do actually. I just went to go see Lion King with my son this last week, and when I got in there, I scoped out the place. There wasn't a lot of people, and then some teenagers went up like both sides, and in my head I was like, what are teenagers doing in the Lion King movie? They were there just to see the movie, but it did cross my mind, and it did give me like one step. What would I do if something happened? You have to be vigilant as a citizen now. The government doesn't seem to be doing anything. So I know this is crazy. It might sound crazy and all these bad like backfires and things like that. People are becoming more aware of their surroundings. And since the government isn't stepping in, the police need a lot more credit than they have been given. 30 seconds they got to that man with that rifle. 30 seconds.
How much more carnage would have happened?
How much more if they weren't there? So people are more vigilant. People are taking this into their own hands. Sadly, it's very sad. But what else can we do as citizens?
In 30 seconds they got to that man. Those victims were at a bar. We've been out together at bars. We've all hung out, to go eat at restaurants. That you could lose your life there. Walmart. There are multiple Walmart shootings. There's a reason why there's a rise in online shopping. People would rather stay home and do their shopping. So, like Jeff said, you have to have your head on a swivel. You have to be more aware of your surroundings.
But at the same time,
exit signs, everything.
And I need to be. You and I have talked about this. I'm a bit remiss in doing that. I kind of walk in, and I need to be more careful. But to be honest, don't let them win.
It doesn't stop me from doing what I'm doing. It just makes me more aware of my surroundings.
But a lot of people writing and saying, well, I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm not going to do this anymore. I understand that reasoning, but I don't know. There's a sense of don't let them take over and dictate your life.
Let's see our final vote really quickly. 68% of our DBL Nation say you are on edge. You're not alone. I'm on edge.
Yeah.
I mean, every day I'm like, do I send my daughter to school? Of course I want to give my daughter that opportunity to go to school and have the social environment that I had growing up. But it's tough, man. It is. We're all in this together, but it's very scary. Yeah. Well, today, speaking of those two tragedies, the president is visiting Dayton, Ohio, and El Paso. He just arrived there with First Lady Melania Trump. He says the visit is about promoting national unity. Watch.
No, I don't think my rhetoric has at all. I think my rhetoric is it brings people together.
But some argue his rhetoric is what's tearing this country apart. He was met with protests in Ohio, and we're expecting to see more in El Paso. We've been seeing some video of protests already underway there. Presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke is standing with those protesters in Texas. Take a look.
People in El Paso, by and large, do not want to see him here, understand that he is part of the problem, part of how we got to this point.
The president is firing back, saying, quote, Beto, phony name to indicate Hispanic heritage. O'Rourke should respect the victims and law enforcement and be quiet. Well, Beto responded with, quote, 22 people in my hometown are dead after an act of terror inspired by your racism. El Paso will not be quiet, and neither will I.
Yeah, I have a really hard time, and I think a lot of people wrote in, even if you're a Trump follower and you love Trump, him saying my rhetoric brings people together is not true. I can't sit on the panel and say that. His base enjoys that. That's part of what makes Trump Trump, to give him credit. He enjoys that chaos politics. He likes kind of stripping it down and riling you up. So I'm not going to let that stand as a statement and just move on past that. That's not true. Second off, if you were a Texan today, I don't think you'd want silence as respect for the victims. I think you'd want action. So when he says to Beto, be quiet, I think that's disrespectful, because if I am a Texan or an Ohioan, I think that's how you say it, I would want movement. I would want to have some anger in my politician. I need a consoler-in-chief that feels my pain. And so being quiet to me is unacceptable.
I'm just sick of the infighting. I really am. Listen, I understand, because it feels like we're on two completely different sides of the aisle. People have two completely different ideologies, so I understand why there's infighting. But enough is enough. Like, we all have children out there that we want to protect. Republican, Democrat, shouldn't matter. American, this is an American problem. Right. We need to face it head on, and the infighting, to me, is not helping. I'm sick of it.
I am too, but then don't have someone tell a person running for president to be quiet. Yeah. You're going to start a fight. Yeah. Right. Bring people together.
And I think, Sam, I'm tired of the fighting as well, but I think right now Beto feels like he has to fight, because the bully is now in his backyard, being El Paso, being his hometown. If it was Cory Booker and
I don't blame him for fighting. First and foremost, I don't blame Beto. I just want action, but I want action. First of all, I want both Republicans and Democrats to denounce white nationalism for what it is, even when our FBI and Homeland Security call it a national threat, our biggest national threat. Let's call it domestic terrorism. Let's deal with it head on. I just want us to stop Republican, stop Democrat, and look at these issues as American issues, and not, I almost feel like that okay, if you are a Republican, you're going to have to see a mass shooting is this way. If you're a Democrat, you're going to have to see a mass shooting is this way. Right. The lens is completely different. Everybody's lost any sort of duality of thought. Nobody wants to form a solution. You say this on the show every single time. I'm on board with you. I'm sick and tired of it, because we're not going to accomplish anything if we just stick to our party lines.
Right. And I don't have a party line. I am definitely independent. I see both sides.
You are.
And I feel like our show does lean one way a little bit on Trump's behalf, just because we lean that way. He did go visit these places. When yesterday we made fun of him for not going to visit these places, he did do that. I think Beto is capitalizing off of the president being there and getting more airtime. If you tweet the president, he responds to you, you're getting more out there in the public. I don't condone what he says. I don't condone what he does. I said I wish he was never on Twitter, but I don't like that. Like, you're very hard in your stance, and I think America feels exactly like you. But the other side, which is half of our audience, also feels the other way.
I hear you.
And everyone bends, and everyone's always making fun of Trump, and everyone's always putting up those big balloons about like him, we're not going to get anywhere.
Okay, and I hear you, but I have a hard time not understanding that, like, Trump went after so many other people and birtherism and all of these other things, and now we're like, go easy on him. He's the president. He started a fight after 31 people died. That's unprecedented.
I'm not here to be in a debate like we're on CNN.
I know.
Definitely not.
I'm not trying
you know
to.
What I mean? I'm just telling you, if you keep up your rhetoric and your defense, we're never going to come together, because you speak for half of our country.
Okay, and then I'm going to tell you is every time he speaks, then if I don't speak up and challenge every time, then I'm allowing it, and I'm complicit.
No one gives him credit for anything. It's always
what will you give him credit for?
He went there.
He said Toledo. He even said the wrong name.
Again, I'm not debating for Trump here. I'm trying to say, see both sides. You do not see the other side. Neither does half of America, and the other half is blinded on Trump's side. I'm saying if you guys do not meet in the middle here, we are not going to get anywhere. Making fun of Trump every day is not the answer, and then sticking up for whatever anyone else says on the Democratic side is not the answer either.
And for me, when you separate families, that's also not the answer. I want him out. I don't want to just be okay with him.
Again, I'm not having this CNN conversation about separating families.
I think it's an important conversation to have.
I'm just doing this particular instance.
Yeah, I think this is a healthy conversation. I know this is a conversation that many of our viewers within their families are having. I think we need to reach a point where, as a constituent, we're not complacent. So I see where Tori's coming from, but I also see where Jeff's coming from, where we need to come together. We gotta find a way, because we're going backwards, not forward. So chime in. DBL's live coming up. The claws come out on the Real Housewives of New York reunion. Why the ladies went off on Countess Luann. Then two music icons unite. We'll tell you what brought Barbra Streisand and Ariana Grande together. And you, the viewer, are our fifth host. A Midwest town is banning city employees from using nicotine and tobacco to encourage healthier behavior. But does the ban go too far? Your comments on that coming up next.
DBL Nation, Kelly Schubert here with the DBL Digital team. I'm tracking all the breaking and trending news for you right now. But that was a great conversation at the table, so I think we should go there and see what else they're chatting about. Hey guys, what's happening up here? What's up? That was a great conversation.
Great conversation.
Yeah.
I think you guys did a great job of
Me
representing the temperature in America right now. And the fact that you guys can have this conversation, and we have conversations all the time off camera, and things get heated here, but we still stay civil with it. I think that the rest of America should be doing the same thing. So I'm with Jeff. I'm with both of you. I'm more with Jeff when it comes to being in the middle of things and picking and choosing what I like about each party. But I agree with you. I agree with you, Tori. How Trump he says something about everyone, but then as soon as someone says something about him,
say it's a Republican
everyone's like, oh.
And to be honest, I used to be someone much more like you guys, where I was more in the middle. To be honest, to me, and this is just to me, not to them, Trump is an aberration, meaning he is different than every other president. He isn't, I find, presidential, and I don't think he deserves to be there. Now, if it was George W. Bush or someone else, I could have a political debate with Jeff about fiscal stuff or conservative stuff and policy. To me, he is the anti-American president. And so that really makes me impassioned. And I don't mean to come off angry, and I don't mean to come off entitled.
You're very educated in the way you speak. I'm not saying anything like that. But half of the people watching right now, half of this country, totally disagrees with you.
That's fine.
But that's what I'm saying. But you have to understand why. Aren't you curious to why that is? Why they think that way? That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to ride the middle and say, hey, why do they think that way? Why doesn't, you know what I mean? If it's always like we get up here and we show Trump and we show our prompter says, here he goes again. It's like, we have to be down the middle so people can decide.
But I think people who like Trump aren't in the middle. They're an extreme on their own.
Exactly, and I don't like.
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for Fifth Host when we talk about what you're talking about. Dayton, Ohio is banning city employees from using tobacco and nicotine. They hope it will promote a healthier work environment and save money, but union leaders say it could lead to workers' private lives being further scrutinized. So DBL Nation, should employers be able to ban tobacco use?
All right, here we go. James from Facebook says, for the majority of the people who smoke, it's an addiction, and the government, along with the tobacco companies, are responsible. It's not right that they are being discriminated against. They have a disease. I'm sorry, I can't call that a disease because if you don't put the cigarette to your mouth in the first place, you're not going to be addicted to it.
But it is a disease.
But how is
you could say the same thing to alcoholics, though. That's not fair.
If you don't touch the alcohol, then you don't. If you don't have sex, you're not a sex addict.
Let's say that's not fair, though, because let's say first of all, it's proven genetically that you're predisposed to these certain addictions. So let's say you decide to have a drink of alcohol at 14 and then you spin out of control all the way till your 40s, 50s, 60s. You can't say that that's their fault because they put the bottle to their mouth.
Sorry,
that's not fair.
I'm glad you said that, but I still don't agree with that.
It is a disease. It's an addiction. And of course, in a perfect world, you'd never pick up that cigarette if you're predisposed. You would never pick up that glass if you're predisposed. But the reality is we all have vices and we all pick it up.
That sounds like a cop-out to me. I'm sorry. So
I have to disagree with that.
Woo, woo, woo. Joy from Facebook says, I could care less if the person working next to me smokes if they get their work done and are respectful to coworkers. Thanks, Joy, for writing in. I am completely against this for a different reason, but that's awesome that you're open-minded. I don't want people to smoke. I think it's a terrible habit, and I do think it's a disease. I think this crosses the line into a slippery slope. The ACLU agrees with me. If you do something legal and the town that you are in says you can't do that or will discriminate against you, that's like the basis of what an unconstitutional ruling is. We left England so the king wouldn't tell citizens what to do. So in that sense, since it's a town telling me what to do and it's a legal thing to smoke, that's what if they say next alcohol or or cheeseburgers, or I could get dreadlocks and it could go a whole other way. A lot of states have banned any discrimination against legal activities for private citizens.
All right, Mari from Facebook says, at a company I used to work for, there was a sign outside of Human Resources that said, if you work for us, you do not smoke. If you smoke, you do not work here. Mari, you know what? Here's my take on this. If it's a private company, you're able to do whatever you want. I think not smoking makes for a healthier environment. My brother works for a place, if you do not work out at the gym, you get 45 minutes for lunch. If you do work out, they buy your membership and you get an hour and 45 minutes for lunch because they want to promote a healthier lifestyle, which then in turn promotes a healthier environment to work in. I think if you do not want tobacco or smoking on your property and you're the owner, it's your right, especially because why do you get to go outside every 15 minutes and I don't just because you're a smoker?
But you see the difference between this and a town, right? Like a private sector and the public sector.
I don't know.
Okay.
Good combo.
That was my comment. Let me give my comment.
Okay, I was just
Thank you, DBL Nation. Coming up on DBL, does recycling make men less masculine? The surprising new survey reveals what some guys really think. And DBL co-host and Big Brother alum Jeff Schroeder breaks down the latest episode of Big Brother in Reality Roundup, coming up next.
Hey guys, Kelly Schubert here with the DBL Digital team. I'm tracking all the breaking and trending news for you right now, but it's time for Fast Blast, where I give you all the news you need to know in under 2 minutes. Let's get that timer up. Here we go. Have you tried Burger King's new Impossible Whopper? You may not be eating what you thought you were. The burger chain is admitting that its plant-based burger is vegetarian, but that it's cooked on the same griddle as its chicken and beef products. What the heck, Burger King? On behalf of all my vegetarian friends, this is unacceptable. This seems like a big fat Whopper fail to me. Have you seen the viral photo floating around the internet of a backless airplane seat? A lot of people freaked out thinking this is the future of flying because airlines are trying to cut so many costs. But don't worry. EasyJet says passengers would never be allowed to fly in a seat like this. But why is there a picture of a woman sitting in the seat then? Now, EasyJet says it's investigating and passengers' safety is its highest priority. But hey, I know I wouldn't sit in a backless chair for an entire flight. Let's ask our airport expert. Jeff?
Hell no. I'm not having that. I don't like when people with their seats back, but to take away the whole seat, we can't have that.
No. Talk about a stinky situation. Check out this viral photo of a toilet that exploded in Florida. The house was struck by lightning during a bad thunderstorm. Now, plumbers said it must have struck near the septic tank, and that's what caused the toilet to blow into pieces. There are a ton of gross potty jokes I could say right now, but let's just move on. A popular movie from my childhood is getting a reboot, but not everyone is happy about it. Kevin! That's right, Disney says it's planning to reboot Home Alone. Fans of the classic Christmas movie say the movie is perfect the way it is, and they're worried Disney is trying to ruin the franchise. Duh. They say the third Home Alone was already bad, so why try to remake it? Here's my thought. Unless I'm getting a cameo from Macaulay Culkin himself, I am fully against this reboot. This has been Fast Blast for you. Take care.
Welcome back to DBL. It's been a crazy week for the Real Housewives, so it is time for Reality Roundup. Yep, first up on the Real Housewives. First of all, we got Jeff with us. I'm really excited. This is going to be good. Get ready, Jeff. First up on the Real Housewives of New York, the ladies call out Luann for being self-centered. Uh-oh, check it out.
Where's your daughter going to school this fall? I don't know. We haven't even talked about that yet.
You didn't ask?
You don't know anything. You don't know where her daughter's going to school?
She was reaching
told
for us
me
to
we
go
haven't
over
seen
to
each
ask
other.
her. I texted you. The U pen. That's insane.
That's me.
I didn't hear anything they said till that's insane. So I don't even know what's going on.
So you don't think Luann is self-centered?
I have no idea who Luann is.
She's the Countess. She's the Count. Anybody that calls themselves the Countess.
She's at fault.
Although I love Luann.
I do too, but my favorite really is the Bethany reactions to Luann. Which is just like, you're a snake.
I know.
You're insane.
I give Luann a pass this season. She was working on her sobriety. If she needed to focus on herself to get sober, I'm giving her a pass.
You're giving the Countess a pass?
I give the Countess a pass.
All right, fine.
Oh, camera one. Here we go. Next on Dance Moms, Abby Lee Miller has one student make a hard choice.
no.
Uh-oh. Take a look.
Michelle, I'm going to ask you to step outside, please. Come on, Abby. Step outside the room. You are not going to dance if your mother doesn't follow my rules.
Yes, so please go upstairs.
My daughter's choosing to stay with this deranged lunatic that's a convicted felon over me.
I win. I always choose me.
Man.
I mean, what was the one thing you said while we were watching that package?
I'm like, didn't she just get out of jail?
Yeah.
Yes.
And now she's
back on her show.
dancing again.
I know.
Who's the new warden in town?
Good one. do we want to give Abby Lee Miller a second chance?
No, we do not.
You do not?
No, and I know comeback with Cobb, Erica would be very upset with me. She deserves the comeback she deserves, and I don't think she deserves.
But Erica always says you get the comeback that you're willing to earn.
And I don't think she's earning much with this kind of behavior.
Ooh, DBL Nation, let us know if you think she should get a second chance. Well, finally, on Big Brother, the house guests have been locked inside for over a month. Can you imagine? And they turned to lip reading to stay entertained. Check out Christy trying to guess the phrase.
Beg for ducks.
Bad? Beg.
Yes.
Beg for?
Ducks.
Sex?
Ducks.
Stocks?
Ducks.
Socks. Beg for socks.
Ducks.
Beg for ducks.
Yeah!
Beg for ducks? They look insane. They're bored.
I'm telling you, the downtime in the house is something that people do not understand.
So what would you do?
Oh my God, thank God I had my wife there. That's where like we really fell in love in that house, even though we were friends. But there's still a famous like saying that people still come up to me to this day. We're laying there, I'm like, what kind of animal would you want to be? You know, like an eagle? And she's like, I'd rather be a squirrel. Like it's this really crazy line. That's how bored we are.
It's almost like you guys are like permanently at a campfire.
Yeah.
Just talking about like nothingness.
And you wake up and you're like, there's nothing to do till Thursday. And you just, it's Tuesday. And you watch literally, you watch like, we watched a spider make a web.
Can you watch TV?
I'm not even kidding.
Can you watch TV?
No, there's no book, nothing.
No books?
Nothing.
No crosswords?
Oh, no.
And you can,
I'm out.
Is there a gym?
Yeah, there's a gym.
Okay.
But sadly, you get so tired. You're like, I'm just going to work out all day. And you get so tired, you're like, I'll do it later. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll work out next week.
Because there's no
and then
schedule.
You just don't even work. Yeah.
They say schedules keep you on point.
And when you get out of there, when you go home, you're kind of like all over the place. You got to regroup.
And they have psychologists for you, correct? Wait,
if you need them, yes, absolutely.
Did you use them?
No, luckily. Maybe I should have.
This has been Reality Roundup with Jeff. Yay! We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration.
I'm just like dancing and singing to myself because it's Tuesday, right? It's Tuesday. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. It's been a long week, guys. Boo. I'm missing Al and I'm missing Erica, and they are over in Miami. They're doing this most amazing conference. I'm sure we'll get some footage of it and hear all about it next week when they come back. But I did notice there were a few comments saying, "Where's Al and Erica?" And that's because they're busy doing that. So I think you know that's they'll be back soon. They're not gone anywhere. They're not missing. They're not ill. They're not sick. They're doing something special for DBL, just so you all know. Right, so we've had loads of comments on the fifth host. So what was today's fifth host? It was about smoking. That was my smoking emoji. In real life. That makes no sense. But wait, this is really bad, but I actually can't remember in what state it is. Was it Ohio where people can't smoke? Yes, Ohio. So basically there's an area and they're saying they don't want, if you smoke, you can't come to work there anymore. Now, I don't know if legally they're allowed to do that because it's your right and it's like a personal matter that obviously then is coming into your work situation, and it's also an addiction, right? So you can't just stop smoking. But I think the different companies should have incentives in place to try and help people that maybe want to stop, or maybe encourage them to stop with like some kind of prize or something at the end that just gives them a motivation to try and encourage them to be more healthy. Now, I understand that the companies in Ohio in that area are basically saying, we're paying for your health insurance, you guys are getting sick because you smoke, and we don't want to foot the bill. And I understand that, I really, really do. The reason I understand that is because my grandfather is a very heavy smoker. He's had multiple heart attacks. He's had to have a heart bypass. He's had to have so many surgeries and things done, and they were all down to smoking. And the doctors did say to him, if you don't stop smoking, this is what's going to happen. He didn't, he continued, and obviously, sadly, the fate has been set. So I understand that smokers do obviously cost the different companies and health insurance a lot of money, but it is still their personal choice. And also, as I said before, it's an addiction. You can't just stop smoking, even if you want to. It's not like a light switch. You can't just turn it off. And there needs to be some sympathy and support there for those people that do want to stop. So I believe that what they should do is they should offer incentives, be really supportive, and try and encourage people not to smoke. And in the meantime, maybe put bans or caps on time. So let's say maybe it could be down to time, because they could say, okay, you're meant to go outside for 5 minutes, you're going outside for 15. That's not okay. And maybe you need a punch card so they can monitor your hours, and then you get your pay docked for when you're smoking if you go over the accelerated time or agreed time. But it's just like going to the toilet. You can't stop someone leaving their desk for a moment to go and do something that they need to do, and this is an addiction. We need to remember that. So maybe they could tackle it that way. I'm not sure. I've not even read anyone's comments because I've just been rabbiting on. Rabbit.
Welcome back to DBL. You're running late, so you grab some fast food. We've all been there. Tori and Al have some tips on to-go food in this DBL Drive presented by who, y'all?
CarShield!
That's right.
I think the drive-through, in a weird way, is kind of like it's deceptive. Oh. Because you're like, oh, well, this is going to be faster.
Right.
Perfect. But what if everybody's thinking that?
Yeah, I know.
I think the little secret hidden gem of life is that you go inside. Much fewer people, you go in there, you get that one-on-one. Give me the fluffy croissant. Don't give me the one that looks like somebody.
Don't give me that weird fry.
I don't want the one that looks like somebody put the people's elbow on it. I want a nice fluffy croissant with ham and cheese in there. You're definitely getting a tip from old Al.
I see, and maybe a tip of the hat even.
Well, I'm not wearing a hat.
I know, but it's an expression.
To a Joe Louis fight.
When you're starving and on the move, a drive-thru can be the perfect solution to fuel you up. Use a shower caddy to make your meals easy to reach and pass. Don't wait until hunger hits you. Store some snacks in the car for whenever you get a craving. And for peace of mind, get an auto protection plan with CarShield. CarShield protects their members from the high cost of auto repairs. Call 1-800-505-9619 for a free quote.
Do you two ever run out of things to say in that car?
We sure don't, but now that I'm cross-stitching, people do think we're just like a married old couple. Everyone's like, beep, hey, weird,
So when you cross-stitch, you not talk? You're just in your zone?
No, I can talk and listen, but it's just like people are starting to recognize us on the road. You know what I mean? They're like, it's Al and Tori!
No way!
It happened in my dreams, and one person.
That's adorable. I love it. So look out for them, everybody. Tori
Say
and
hi.
Al. They might be on the street right next to you. Here's what's coming up next on DBL.
The old gang's back together as 90210 returns tonight. Star Jenny Garth dishes on a backstage fight that almost got physical. Then, does saving the planet make you less of a man? Wait till you hear why some men refuse to recycle. And aging in Hollywood. Stars Cameron Diaz, Jennifer Garner, and Demi Moore share their experiences later on DBL.
Yeah, we got a code 3232, a filthy mascara user on the corner of your little and nasty. Yeah, I said it, y'all. I'm back with the beauty police, and today we're here to let y'all little nasties know it's time to put down that nasty mascara that you've been using for 2 years, girl. Ooh, I can't even. Let's bring it back, though. Some of you may not know what I'm talking about, but I'm sure you've seen it. Now, every now and then I come across a young lady, sometimes older, sometimes younger, sometimes a man, whoever, whatever, and they always seem to have a nasty old mascara tube from 2010 that they've been clutching on to because it was that one good mascara that works. But let me tell y'all, that is wrong. Y'all are doing it wrong. I'm gonna be writing you a beauty fine right now, honey, because you're treating yourself wrong. It's just nasty. Now, you may not know, mascara is not to be sticking around for a year, for 6 months, not even 4 months. Did you guys actually know mascara is only supposed to be used for 3 months? Y'all heard me right. 1, 2, 3. Let's say it in Spanish now. 1, 2, 3. French. I don't know. Anyways, you can't be keeping your mascara around for that long, guys. So I have a couple tips for you. If your mascara is starting to get flaky or dry when you're taking it out the tube, it's time to go, okay? It's time for it to put it away. If your mascara doesn't make that sound when you're taking it out the tube, it's time to go. It's wet. It's not wet anymore. You're putting on dry, crusty mascara onto those beautiful, luscious lashes. What's good, girl? One last one. If your mascara kind of has to like break off a little chunk of like dryness, put it down, sis. Like, you don't need that in your life. Put that old dirty mascara down. But that's all I'm gonna say for you guys this time. Just make sure you're throwing out that mascara every 3 months and buying a new one, all right? I'll see you guys next time. Make sure to follow me at Jeray for the Slay.
It's real. Always unpredictable.
You are totally off base here.
Log on and join our live conversation.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I do agree with you.
DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. Let's get started. The wait is finally over. The reboot of BH 90210 premieres tonight on Fox. They even recreated the original opening credits. But what fans can't stop buzzing about is the reunion between Shannon Doherty and Jenny Garth. And it's no secret the actresses did not get along back in the 90s. This week on Watch What Happens Live, Jenny talked about their worst fight on set. Listen.
What kinds of things did you tussle?
I can only remember one incident, and that was when, we took it outside.
You did?
Yeah.
Did it actually get physical?
Yeah, I'm a Midwestern girl.
Right.
And I spent some time in Glendale, Arizona.
Okay.
So that makes you tough.
Apparently, Jenny and Shannon put aside their differences for the reboot, but we've been hyping this show up for a long time. So you guys be tuning in. Head to DBL Nation, chime in by heading to dblvote.com. You and I both love it. Now, you were obsessed in college, right?
I was obsessed, yeah. When people pretended like they didn't watch the show, they watched. My room was packed from the first time I watched
Your
it.
dorm room, right?
With all the football guys. They watched it. They watched it. I put it on DVR. It's ready to go. I love the concept that they're playing themselves. They're not playing their characters. Kind of like Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm not happy about the BH 90210.
A bit much.
Just Beverly Hills 90210.
What do you think about their fight?
And
her kind of bragging about it.
Yeah, like in the streets of Glendale.
I know. I don't know about that.
Sorry, you know.
Right? I don't think you should ever be proud of fighting with your co-star.
So
but
if I watch tonight, because I've already been told I have to, what am I looking for?
Well, see, I think it's going to be really tough because you weren't into the original series. Us three, you were into it, right?
A little. My sister was into it. I didn't never get that. No.
So it's only going to be Jeff and I?
Were you a Melrose Place girl?
No.
Sometimes
were
it was.
you?
No.
Oh.
Sometimes it was like a fight. Like
I was
Democrat, Republican now.
Yeah.
It was. I'm a Melrose guy. I'm a Beverly Hills 90210 guy.
Oh,
really?
Oh, yeah.
But you're a surfer chick, so you had to be like Melrose, not Melrose.
Melrose Place had nothing to do with surfing.
No?
No.
So what am I thinking of?
I don't know.
Point Break?
North Shore?
Watching too much WB.
Okay, let's see if our own DBL Nation will be watching. 59% of you. We're going to discuss tomorrow. So
I'm excited.
Put a pin in it,
Reality
okay?
roundup.
Maybe. Well, it's not a reality show.
They're playing themselves.
True. Good point. Okay, last night there was a moment that could bring any diva lover to tears. Ariana Grande made a surprise appearance at Barbra Streisand's concert in Chicago. The powerhouse pair sang "No more tears, enough is enough." After the duet, 26-year-old Ariana posted this picture and said she was going to pass out. Who would be your dream person to work with? Because clearly, I mean, Barbra Streisand for Ariana Grande. Dream. You know, check that box. Who's your idol to work with?
Aaron Sorkin. I'd love to do a walk and talk scene. You know what I'm talking about? The West Wing guy.
Yes.
Does everyone know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Okay, Aaron Sorkin for Tori.
Yeah.
Anybody, think.
Maybe Larry David.
Okay.
Maybe Larry David.
Like
I think it would be fun to be on that show.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I would love to go on tour with Rick James.
That would be awesome. But go on tour, what would you do?
What's your talent?
This is a daytime TV show.
Would you like announce him? Maybe.
Okay, there we go.
Be his MC.
That's daytime. Yeah, I could do that.
Is Rick James alive?
No, he's dead.
Oh, I don't think Rick James is here anymore. But I did say anybody, your idol.
What about you?
Oh, mine's Abraham Lincoln then.
Me, it would have to be Well, you know I loved Sally Jessy Raphael, and to interview her was definitely a dream come true. I would love to just follow Oprah around, Michelle Obama around. Be backstage with Gwen Stefani.
I was going to say, where's your Gwen Stefani?
I love my Gwen Stefani.
I thought you were going to say Bill Murray.
Oh my God, of course.
That's a good
He's
one.
right,
That's
Bill Murray.
Yeah,
my husband and I thought we saw him this weekend in Aspen.
And did you?
We did not, but my husband thought it was him. He was going to take a drink from his cup and then say, no one will believe you, because that's what Bill does, but it wasn't Bill.
What if Bill Murray punched him in the face? That would be a good story.
That was a good story.
That'd be a good story.
It wasn't Bill, though. It wasn't. All right, Beyonce is making history again, this time as a work of art. So, Raquel, tell us the news at the moment.
Well, Sam, Queen Bee has earned her title as music royalty. Now she's becoming a part of history at the Smithsonian. The museum is adding Beyonce's Vogue cover to the National Portrait Gallery. This photo was the first ever to be shot by a black photographer in the magazine's 125-year history. Tyler Mitchell, who captured the shot, tweeted, "A year ago today, we broke the floodgates open." Now, there's no word yet on when it'll go on display, but it's a permanent part of the collection.
This is a huge deal. Thank you, Raquel.
Yeah.
Huge deal.
This is an honor. You usually see presidents. You see the Michelle Obama one that little girl went to and looked up at. This is, and if you guys don't know, the Smithsonian is free for any woman, child, man, ever. So anybody who wants to can see this photo.
Very cool. Yeah. Very, very cool. Congrats to her. Monica Lewinsky is taking her infamous story to the FX network. She's producing the 3rd season of American Crime Story that will follow the scandals leading up to President Bill Clinton's impeachment hearings. Along with Monica, Paula Jones and Linda Tripp will be main characters in the story. Actress Beanie Feldstein plays Monica Feldstein, rather. She's Jonah Hill's younger sister and appeared in recent films like Lady Bird and Booksmart. No word yet on who will play the Clintons. So, number one, a lot of people are already speculating online who will play the Clintons. Tori, there's a weird political anger. People don't want this to come out because they feel like it's going to impact the 2020 election.
Yeah, so they were thinking advertisements, right? So they're like, when is everyone thinking about politics? Right at the 2020 election. But by putting this out there, I think you really hurt the Democrats. I'll be super honest. I think it helps the incumbent, Trump. It makes the Democrats kind of look sleazy if you lump them all together.
And that's so ridiculous.
Which is ridiculous.
I can call, as a Democrat, I can call Bill Clinton sleazy.
And remember,
I can separate the two.
And remember, he was impeached. So the checks and balances did work with Bill Clinton. He was a sleazeball. He got impeached. I think this, though, right at around election time, it also might give people voting apathy. They're like, ugh, politicians are the worst. I'm not going to even vote.
Okay.
And we're seeing how powerful these documentaries and these shows are. I mean, just look at season 1. They won all those Emmys for the O.J. Simpson season. So just think if that would have happened during O.J.'s parole hearing. And then we think of Surviving R. Kelly, the documentary. Look what that ultimately put R. Kelly away, or at least got him arrested for all the stuff that he did. So, I mean, the final 6 weeks of the 2020 elections, I think it's a bad time for that to come out. But I do want to see it.
Can we get that black and white photo up again?
Yeah,
I'm not watching unless the guy on the left is in the photo. Unless I find out what his story is, I'm not watching.
Wait, what if the whole thing was just on that guy? It's like
good.
George, the secretary.
Hey.
Then count me in.
Okay. Any Pitbull fans here? Pitbull fans? Oh, yeah, we got some woos. Well, he dropped a new music video for his song 3 to Tango. Check it out. But keep your eyes peeled for a special celebrity cameo. Tori's stumped. See if you can guess who it is after this clip. Yes! None other than John Travolta, who put on his dancing shoes for the first time in decades.
Cool.
Looking good, owning the bald head.
Finally, because that thing looked ridiculous. Let's all call it for what it is. But remember, this dancer for you bring you back to Greece. It gets you back to Princess
Saturday
Diana.
Night Fever.
Saturday Night Fever. I mean, this is wonderful as an iconic dancer. Good
Very
for him.
cool. Very cool. Way to go, John Travolta.
Do you think
I don't think you lose that, you know? I mean, look at... He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he's good.
Bachata nights on Wednesday nights, if y'all want to go with me.
The what?
Bachata nights.
What's that?
Bachata.
Is it like salsa?
Yeah,
you go every Wednesday night?
No, it's going to be my first night. But that's what I said. For support, come with me.
Okay, one of these nights I will. I shall. A new study is out, and it says that there's a reason why you never see men using reusable bags at grocery stores. It's because the bags are, quote, not associated with manliness. Wow. Well, I disagree. And here to support my argument are famous men who hotly remembered to bring a reusable bag. Exhibit A, Hugh Jackman. The man is bundled up for the cold, but his care for the environment is hot, hot, hot. Exhibit B, DJ Calvin Harris, once dated Taylor Swift, of course, but now he's saving the planet. And Exhibit C, Samuel L. Jackson. I dare you to tell Samuel L. Jackson to his face that carrying a tote is not manly. I'm so sick and tired of these gender-specific labels that hurt people.
It hurts the planet. If you're manly, you want to save the planet, do something about it. The least manly thing you could do is say, I don't care. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't understand the manly thing either. I use those bags all the time. And then if you go to Whole Foods, you get a dime back or you give it to charity. I give mine to charity, but also I want to show my son to save the planet. You know what I mean? If the smallest thing you could do is bring your own bag. You know what I mean? And if you're doing that little part, you're doing something to help this planet. That's all I want people to do. Just do something.
Stop staring at me.
No, I was just pointing at you like, no, not you. I'm just saying, and there's times I forget them too, but just try.
But
let's
unpack this, though. There is a study that shows that people feel like that they can't use these totes because it makes them feel less manly. What does that say about our society and what we're telling young boys?
I really don't. I know how Jeff feels about these studies, and I know how we all feel about these studies. I really don't think that's the case. I think a lot of people is just like, I don't have a car, I Uber, so I'm not going to keep toting around tote bags.
Yeah, but if you were a young kid, were there any things that you did or didn't do as a young kid because you felt like it didn't adhere to like a societal gender norm?
Like, did you recycle? Like, I remember some like was that something you did, or did you find that like stupid?
No, absolutely. You recycle because you make it into a competition to see who can hit that jump shot. Who can, you know? So you make it into what society calls manly. But I wear pink. I love wearing pink. Cool. Real men wear pink. So I don't understand this study on. I just think that comes from like. But
some young men would probably not wear pink because they'd be afraid that they'd be called feminine, which shouldn't be an insult. There shouldn't be. So I'm just trying to figure out. I feel for young boys. I think a lot of young boys have a certain standard to adhere to that they shouldn't have to.
I think that's going away more than we think. You know what I mean? Because I do. I don't think like that at all. Pink is like my favorite color. I bring my tote bags. I wear them like a purse.
For you.
I don't care what's up. You got something to say?
Good for you.
Come get me.
Well,
come get me. You know what I mean?
Add Jeff Schroeder to that list. Add him on that list.
What are you gonna do?
Coming up on DBL, a grandma's regret of never seeing the ocean turned into the ultimate adventure with her grandson, how he stepped up to make sure all of her wishes came true, and 3 Hollywood powerhouses chat about aging in the spotlight. The discussion when DBL comes back.
Oh my God, you're amazing. Oh my
Rick
God.
James, huh, buddy?
Hey, do you think someone just wrote in? Do you think you're insecure about anything?
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think?
Well, you know what? I don't. Maybe.
Sarah Astacio, thanks for writing in.
You know, maybe growing up, I was way more insecure. But now it's like, even like drinking a. Sorry, I was gonna.
A throat lozenge.
Yeah, a cough drop. I couldn't think of the word out of my thing. So I think now, like a lot of my friends even now are like, have a beer. What do you mean? You can't, dude. White Claws and Trulies. You know what those are?
I do.
They're delicious. And I went
Erica's husband introduced me to White Claws. I can't stop. I'm such a
I
white
went to a wedding with all like my butch friends. There was no beer. Everyone drank Trulies.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No one cares about that stuff anymore. Like if you think like, oh my God, you're being a whatever. Fill in the blank there because there's so many. What are you talking about? Because I look awesome in pink?
He does look
good. Don't be jelly about that. And because I'm drinking a delicious mango Truly? Don't be mad at me, dude.
Wait, can I say honestly, has anyone heard of the new one, Cane Line? Cape Line, and it's margarita in a seltzer, and it's only 70 calories.
See, that's good, and the sugar's really low.
Right, so is this the new wave of like drinking?
And I care about my body. That's not considered manly.
It is. Men spend a lot of time working on themselves, I think.
But I mean, a lot of that stuff, like I don't get like a lot of that manly stuff. I really do. It's way more convenient when you have kids to take that tote bag and put it around your shoulder.
Purse it up,
because then you got room to grab your kids if they're running out.
Now, can I ask you a question? Do you guys think, and Kelly, let me hear your point of view, if they made the to-go bags, the tote bags, less bright and colorful, that more guys would kind of like it?
I just got one from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. We got them for free. It's a tote bag. I'm like, definitely use. Welcome back to DBL. A group of A-list actresses are opening up to InStyle magazine about aging in Hollywood. You want to take it over, Sam?
Okay.
All right.
Came in a little late there. Jennifer Garner talked about what it was like starting a family and going from a hot girl of the moment to quickly being defined by pregnancies and babies. The 47-year-old went on to say she doesn't have the offers coming in like she did earlier in her career. So Tori, we've talked about this, the fact that you feel like you have to almost choose between career and family, and that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, and I think, now here's the thing, for you and I, we are in a very specifically visual-based industry. So I have to understand that that's even more on my mind, right? If I'm working as a lawyer, perhaps that isn't such a big deal, although rights haven't been given to mothers fairly. But I think about it all the time. I'm not pregnant. I think about babies, and I think, I'm in a really good momentum and I really want to keep it going, and and then I have a ticking time, I have a biological clock. There's so much going on, and I think about it probably once a minute.
Can I ask, but if you had a baby right now, I think it's a little bit different from you being Jennifer Garner, because she played that hot role back in the day. In this industry that you're in now, being a mom will only give you more validity to the things you're saying and add to your brand more. So I think it's just different from being an actress and a TV host.
That's a good point, like a host and an actress, that's true. Now, I find Jennifer Garner gorgeous.
Yes.
I find it hard to believe that she's even struggling, but I guess everybody has.
And we have a couple more examples here.
Yeah.
Now to a star we haven't heard from in a while. Cameron Diaz told InStyle, quote, bless you, I've given more than half of my life to the public. I feel like it's okay for me to take time for myself. The 46-year-old admitted she's working on something new, but keeping it a secret. So do you respect stars that keep their lives private? Because a lot of them don't.
Absolutely, and it's a choice. I definitely think it's a choice. If you want to be private, you could not be seen. If you're always saying, I'm caught up in the tabloids, why is everyone looking at me, blah, 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 it's because you like that attention. That's just my personal point of view on that.
Right, all right, and moving on to Demi Moore, she says writing a memoir gave her a new perspective on life. The 56-year-old told InStyle it was a very intimate and challenging project. She said before the book, she was, quote, in an incubating period and didn't necessarily know what direction she was going, but now she's learned to love and accept herself.
And I always think about with her, she was like almost a teenage star. I mean, she was the part of the Brat Pack, to be honest. So she went from really young to older to now really old. But I think she looks fantastic.
I mean, as you get older,
really
too.
I didn't mean it like that.
Through experience, you can even look at your NFL career, right?
Yes.
Now you can look at it retrospectively, and you can think, with the experience, with my age that I am today, I can look back and learn some things and perhaps tell some things as opposed to when you're in it. So I think it's interesting that she's now doing this.
Yeah, it's all about rebranding yourself. I mean, you look at Jay-Z. We've heard Sean Carter, Jay-Z, Hove, Beyonce's husband. He has rebranded himself.
That's his next album.
Business mogul.
And over and over again, and that's what it's about in this industry. You're not going to be hot all the time. So that's why they say put your money away. Do things on the side. Find passion projects. Bradley Cooper, he's a director now. That's what it's about in this industry. And then when you strike again, you're hot again.
You're right. Yeah. Very, very interesting. All right, coming up on DBL, a grandson helps his grandma realize it's never too late to take the adventure of a lifetime. We'll show you how they're inspiring people across the country. But first, after a child loses his sight, his father steps up in ways he never expected. That's coming up in Heart Threads.
Naomi, she said I was talking about breaking two, and I said no one remember it. Naomi said she did. Naomi, that's why I love you.
copy those files from the green?
What happened? She put her finger in my tea again. No, and I think that's unprofessional, hurtful. Why is she wearing headphones? Yeah, she is walking around like I don't know, like a DJ. She looks like the pink ghost in Pac-Man. She does.
That's a good one.
That's my girl.
I just played that somewhere the other day. That's what I'm saying at. And I was like,
is it weird?
It's hard.
Dude, does it give you anxiety?
Yeah.
I don't like it when they're right behind me.
What the
and
hell
I'm like,
was that? I just played it. But then they trap you, like in the corner, and it's over.
It's weird. I don't know. There's like, I'm not a person that suffers from anxiety, but like Pac-Man does. It just like I don't like things chasing. I don't like that.
Oh, I was at my buddy. It was this weekend. My buddy has the mini Pac-Man game.
Oh yeah.
Because now you could buy like the little arcade.
Right,
game.
my son has
That's
that.
where it was. It's super cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's weird you said that.
Isn't
I was
it
like,
weird
wait.
this resurgence with, because like my kids who grew up with all this technology love old school stand-up video games. And I wonder what that is, because they have access to like
pinball.
Crazy, yeah.
Remember when we went to that thing?
Yeah, that's where I took my daughter.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I went to this place called Hyperspace here in Denver, and I like it because Dave and Buster's, like, they have fun games, but first of all, their games are. Did I ever tell you what happened to me one time with my daughter there?
I know where you're going. They're super expensive.
Dude, I took my oldest daughter and my oldest son to Dave and Buster's, and you know I put like a decent amount of money in their cars. Like, hey, you guys have been good. And so my daughter goes off, and I like run out, just like let them go play, and I'm eating at the bar. And she comes up and she's like, my car doesn't work. And I'm like, we've only been there for like 8 minutes. So I come back and I'm like, find the manager. And I'm like, I'm being stern but friendly. I'm like, hey, something's wrong. My daughter's trying to have a good time and her car doesn't work. He prints out this receipt. My daughter was playing.
Welcome back to DBL. Now today's Hard Threats is all about a determined dad who will stop at nothing to make sure his blind son experiences the world. Get your tissues ready. Here's their story.
After his son lost his sight to cancer, this dad resolved to show his little boy the world. Nolan Desmond was diagnosed with a rare eye cancer as a baby. After rounds of surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation, he eventually lost his sight.
He's been blind for over half his life.
Despite Nolan's blindness, his dad Matt wanted to make sure he could see the world. Matt takes 3-year-old Nolan to places with water so Nolan can hear and feel them.
Water. To feel it.
It ended up kind of being a tradition.
Matt documents all of Nolan's adventures, hoping one day his son will be able to see everywhere he's been.
Love you.
That was so beautiful. We'll be right back.
Promotion.
Yeah, Demi. Is it Demi or Demi?
I think it's Demi.
There's so many people that have to. What do you think it is?
What?
Demi or you heard me? Is it Demi or Demi?
Who?
Demi
Oh my
Moore.
God, you're
Is it
so-
Demi Moore or Demi Moore?
I want to say Debbie.
Demi.
Moore. It's Demi Moore.
Demi?
Demi? I think Demi Moore sounds better. Wait, Chris will know. Chris, is it Demi Moore or Demi Moore?
Demi.
I knew it.
Oh, you know.
We also don't know if Chris knows. We're just pretending that we know he knows. Oh we know.
Demi Moore.
Demi Moore.
I knew he would know.
Because I once met her at a party, and Justin Timberlake was right next to her, and I go,
What?
so nice to meet you, Demi. I didn't know what to say.
It's Demi Lovato.
Yes.
And it's Rihanna and Zendaya.
Rihanna, I know.
And
that's very
Zendaya.
confusing.
Okay. And it's, okay, right?
No, I don't know.
It's Charlize Theron.
And it stars Theron like the heron. Any other questions? No, we have a really interesting comment that came in about something Brandon said about addiction, and they he and Sam kind of got into it. And there's a really interesting moment that's brought up some questions from people in the audience. And DBL, what don't we do? Shy away from anything. So we're going to go right to it, bring up the comment, and see what you have to say. So do you think drinking is an addiction? Do you think smoking is, do you think addiction is a disease? That's what the issue is. Do you think that smoking addiction is a disease? Alcoholism is a disease? Brandon didn't seem to think so. Sam was saying she does. And a lot of you wrote in, so we don't ignore things like that when we get feedback. My iPad died, so we're going to get this plugged in. I also hurt my finger by slamming it into my own chair. I'll see you guys soon.
Welcome back to DBL. We have to give a big DBL shout out to an inspiring duo capturing hearts on the internet. Meet 89-year-old Grandma Joy and her grandson Brad. They're on the ultimate road trip together, so far visiting 29 national parks. Brad went on the trip after his grandma said she regretted never seeing the ocean or mountains. They hope this journey will let other young people know you're never too cool to hang out with your grandparents.
Man.
That is amazing.
My grandma has like all these, she had all these pictures all over her house. Now she gave them to me, but like everywhere. She was a huge traveler. I would have loved to do that with her.
You take off to your grandma.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Before we go, I think this is important to address because we love hearing from our DBL Nation. I don't want to name this viewer because this was in an email, and I think because it's an email, maybe she wants to be anonymous, but a viewer sent us a very powerful email directed towards you, Brandon, and I want to give you a chance to respond and then hopefully spark a dialogue. She goes on to say that she's offended about your views on alcohol addiction and cigarettes and disease. She says for him to not state that he doesn't believe alcohol is not a disease shows ignorance. Do you realize how many people in this world suffer? Tens of thousands of people. I wonder how they will react to that. I'm just one person, that might be true. And then she goes on to say how much it infuriates her.
Yeah, as a person who has a family member who has battled alcoholism and is 4 years sober, I guess there's still more I need to learn about it. You know, I'm still young when it comes to this daytime TV thing and learning what to say and how to really say the things that I want to say. So, you know.
Are you struggling with, because I know that you see alcohol as addiction, are you struggling with seeing disease as addiction or cigarette addiction as a disease?
Yeah, I look at like cigarette and alcohol addiction is not the same as like Hodgkin's disease or something like that. So and that's something I need to continuously learn about. And
I mean, I can only regurgitate Dr. Drew after spending years with him on television, who is an addictionologist. And disease, first of all, you're predisposed, right? Yeah. So these people genetically are predisposed. They can have one cigarette, one sip of alcohol, and it's different than if I were to have a sip of alcohol or I were to have a cigarette. And Dr. Drew's always said, treat disease, addiction like cancer, right? Yeah. Treat above the neck like you would below the neck, and then we can further destigmatize it. But thank you for that conversation. Thank you for writing in. We'll see you guys later.
Kelly Schubert here with the DBL Digital team. I'm tracking all the breaking and trending news for you right now, but I did just want to see, hope you saw what just happened on the show. Brandon said something that he feels he needs to learn more about. We got a response from a viewer who was upset at what Brandon said, and then Brandon responded again, starting a dialogue. So that's what we're all about here on Daily Blast Live. We'd like to start a dialogue with our viewers. Of course, everyone's going to have a different opinion. That's the way America works, and I think learning from you and you learning from us is one of the big things we like to do on this show. So thank you for writing in. We won't say your name, but if you're watching now, I do appreciate you writing in. Again, that's what we like to do on this show. It's interactive. You are our fifth host. We want to hear your opinions. We want to hear what you're talking about, and we want to hear how you feel, no matter how you're feeling. If you're feeling upset, if you're feeling happy, please send us a note and let us know how you're feeling. All you have to do is type it into info@dailyblastlive.com. That's our email. Again, it's info@dailyblastlive.com. We'd love to know what you're thinking about. You can also tweet us, you can also Instagram us, you can also Facebook us, and YouTube us, all of them, @Daily Blast Live. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We've got a great show coming up. Bye.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Because everyone's talking about this.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
You are totally off base here.
Log on and join our live conversation.
You think this hair just naturally stays like this?
DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to Daily Blast Live, and welcome all of you for joining me up here.
Hey,
I appreciate that.
we're a little late.
It was a last minute get. We are live, guys. It's Wednesday, August 7th. I'm here with Brandon, Tori, and Stephanie. I'm Jeff, Alan, Erica. Have the day off. Good for them. Yeah. Let's get to it, guys. Americans are on the edge after the recent mass shooting. We're seeing a number of false alarms sending people into a panic, rightfully so. This was a scene in Times Square last night. Police say the sound of a motorcycle backfiring sparked a stampede of people screaming, as you can see there, and another false alarm in Utah when a sign fell down at a Salt Lake City mall, and then police say someone yelled shots during the concert, sending everyone into a panic again, obviously. And it's a similar story at a Louisiana Walmart. According to a 911 call, people started running and screaming when they thought they saw a gun, but again, no gun, just some men arguing. So DBL Nation, we want to hear from you. Are you on the edge after these recent shootings? Head to dblvote.com and let us know. I'll let you know what I think. I just went to the movie theater before these shootings last week, and I was already aware of where the exits were. I was with my son the first time in the theater. I saw some teenagers come up both sides of, there wasn't many people in there, it was a daytime show. And I was like, these teenagers are watching The Lion King, I'm gonna keep an eye on them. And they were just there to watch the movie, but I was more aware, and I think now people, as a country, are more vigilant to what's going on. The government's not doing anything, so I think it's up to us as a people to be more vigilant of what's going on, because I don't wanna keep talking, but I do wanna respect those officers that caught that one man in 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Congratulations and thank you to our first responders and our law enforcement. Tori, we've had this conversation, and you said when you go out into the public, you feel safe, or not so much safe, but you're not as aware, or you're not as heightened.
I'm remiss in that, because what you said, and go ahead, is what I should be doing.
Yeah, I have my head on a swivel at all times. I mean, if you think about it, that our police stopped that man from going into a bar, shooting up a bar. We had shooting at Walmart. We've had garlic festivals. Where can you go where you don't, if you walk into the door, your head is not on the swivel at all times? Now, the type of profiling I do is not, I'm not gonna look at you and be cornerstone caddy and be like, oh, black man, white man over there. No, I'm looking at who's acting funny, kind of like Jeff. What are you two teenagers doing watching
like
Lion King?
Yeah, it wasn't their color or skin, it wasn't anything. I'm like, why are teenagers watching The Lion King? It's just something that clicked in my head. I'm like, so I'm one step ahead in case something happens.
Right, and I just want to say, I will be getting more, you are right, I need to be more aware. But just remember, like, because because I've been through depression and I've been through anxiety. When someone is in a constant state of fight or flight, which is what you're saying, really what you're saying is you're like this, your adrenaline is spiked. That's not a healthy place to be 24 hours a day. Yeah. So I just encourage our viewers and you to find like 30 seconds to just breathe and not get the fight or flight like spark out.
Yeah.
Because you will end up wearing yourself out with that.
I hear you, and that's a great point. But
yeah.
I'm not deterred from things that I do in my everyday life from what's going on in this country. I'm just more aware.
Exactly. I think for me too, coming from somewhere where guns are illegal and we don't have any mass shootings, it's really not an issue within the UK. It is a really completely different culture here. And obviously I'm sat here every day hearing about this, we're reporting about it. So I am getting more aware about it, but it hasn't actually changed how I shop or when I go to the cinema if I'm looking for exits. But it does make me think about my future in the country. It does make me think if I had a child, would I want that child to grow up and go to school here, which I would not. It does make me think about, you know, moving forwards what I would do.
Which is crazy because everybody would want to come to America for education, right?
Yeah.
And now we're hearing just the direct opposite. And
but isn't
very
that,
honest.
That's a form of being vigilant in itself.
Absolutely. Yes.
Which
preventative.
It's scary. It's scary where we're at right now as a country. Let's see, are you on edge after these shootings? 55% say yes, they are. Like Tori said, just breathe.
Try and find a space, even download an app, do something where you can not be like this all the time.
Or just watch us.
Yeah, we're awesome. Yeah, good call.
This next story is the best. Today, the president is visiting Dayton, Ohio and El Paso, Texas after the recent tragedies that we were just talking about. He just arrived there with First Lady Melania Trump, and he says the visit is about promoting national unity. Let's watch.
No, I don't think my rhetoric has at all. I think my rhetoric is a very, it brings people together.
But some argue his rhetoric is exactly what's tearing this country apart. He met with protesters in Ohio, and we're expecting to see more in El Paso. We've been seeing some video of protests already that are underway there. And presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke is standing with these protesters in Texas. Let's take a look.
People in El Paso, by and large, do not want to see him here, understand that he is part of the problem, part of how we got to this point.
The president is firing back, saying, quote, Beto, phony name to indicate Hispanic heritage. O'Rourke should respect the victims and law enforcement and be quiet. Beto responded with, quote, 22 people in my hometown are dead after an act of terror inspired by your racism. El Paso will not be quiet, and neither will I.
And I just won't be quiet really quick. And I think even if you're a Trump huge super fan, you have to imagine when Trump just said, my rhetoric brings people together. And I ask you guys on the panel, that's just like not true, right? Like I can't sit up here and accept that. We know that's not true. His base knows that's not true. That's why they voted for him.
Not just to put the other side on the table, I think he believes that. I really do.
I don't. I think he likes chaos. So he says one thing, says another. So you're never quite sure what's going on with him. My thing is this. I strongly believe that if you respect the victims, you don't stay silent, which is what Trump said to Beto. And what Beto said is, I will not stay silent. And I think that doing something in action is actually the most respectful thing you could do. Taking legislation, moving something forward. We heard them scream, do something. Being quiet is not what I think these victims want to hear.
Yeah, and I think Beto is in a position where he has to say something because it is his responsibility to say something because the bully is coming into his hometown. He's coming into his backyard.
Paso, that's right.
If we had these shootings in Newark, Cory Booker would stand up and say something. If we were in Minnesota, Elizabeth Warren would stand up and say something. But, Tori, how do you feel? Because a lot of people are saying that we're not covering the shooter in Dayton because he had leftist views. So they're saying that we're spewed to the right. We're spewed to hate the right and hate Trump and call out white nationalists.
But not the left.
But not the left.
And really quickly, very quickly, the person in Dayton, we aren't fully confirmed with all that. And if it is Antifa or leftist, but there is word that he made a post about something. So I don't know enough about that.
Okay.
But I repudiate both attacks completely. What the FBI and the Homeland Security is saying is we have a major problem specifically with white nationalist terrorism. And when someone like the El Paso shooter creates a manifesto using the president's own words, then drives 10 hours to shoot with 100 bullet clip Mexicans, I think that is a targeted rise of terrorism that I'm most fearful of.
Yeah.
Most fearful of.
Steph, do you give Trump any compassion, I guess. I don't know what the right word is here, because it's hard to, I'd want to see both sides, but do you give him any credit for going to these places and speaking?
I'm glad that he is doing it, but I think also it's a little too late. He should have been on that first flight to show his support. He should have been messaging back, and I think to any of these negative messages, to criticise the gentleman, of course, his name Beto,
yep.
Beto, I want to make sure I'm saying that right. To criticise him, to say that he's protecting his community, I think is absolutely disgusting. It's not helping him whatsoever, and I only can agree and echo what Obama said. I can't remember his exact tweet that we all spoke about on the show yesterday, but he called Donald Trump out for exactly the situation, and I think we all need to start doing that, and he needs to address it further.
I would love to be on a phone call with Stephanie and her friend and be like, how's America?
Oh my God,
well,
it's crazy.
You're right.
And Liz Warren is from Massachusetts. I meant Massachusetts, not Minnesota.
I was just thinking that your friendships, when you speak about America, must be so.
Although we've just got Boris in office, so we're not doing much better right now either, let's be honest.
There you go. Way to balance it out, Steph.
Yeah.
DBL is live, and coming up, the claws come out on the Real Housewives of New York reunion, why the ladies went off on Countess Luann. Then two music icons unite. We'll tell you what brought Barbra Streisand and Ariana Grande together. And you, the viewer, are the fifth host in Midwest Town, is banning city employees from using nicotine and tobacco to encourage healthier behavior. But does this ban go too far? Your comments next.
Jeffrey.
Hey,
Jeffrey,
Margo.
I like that you bring a different view to the panel. I agree. Most of the DBL panel are not Trump supporters, and it's nice to hear an alternate opinion.
Yeah, and Margo, I just try to see the other side. It's not like I'm like, got a Make America Great Again hat. I don't even know what they are. I try to ride the middle as much as I can because I've never been into politics my whole life. To be perfectly honest with you, before I started the show, I didn't even care who the president was.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm living my life, they're doing their job, but the more I've done the show, the more I've learned. I'm like, well, the government really isn't doing their job. What's going on? They haven't been doing their job. So it's like, every president fails. I try to see the light in everything. You could bash any of our presidents at any time, I feel like. So I just want to and half of you are Trump supporters. Half of you do have MAGA hats. So I want to see the other side for you guys. I was just in the South. I went through there, and I think that's what really opened my eyes to like, hey, people think totally different when you're not in a city or you live in the country. I've seen both sides.
It's very, very different. But I remember meeting you and you being like, I don't care anything about politics. And yesterday, Jeff was like, and I'm going to say something about the conformist Mitch McConnell, who hasn't brought anything to the floor. And I was like, oh my God, you're so good.
Yeah, but I'm not happy with that. I would never know who Mitch McConnell was, to be honest with you.
This show has really made
You
us
too, when you were
open
like,
up our eyes and stuff. And I accidentally said Minnesota for Elizabeth Warren when I meant Massachusetts in my head. So it's like you're spewing out all this stuff.
'Cause there's so much information.
Like, it's so much information, and you can get stuff messed up, crisscross from time to time.
They'll
But
make you jump.
I think for what you were saying, Jeff, how you were in the South. I grew up in Virginia, so I kind of see both sides.
Yeah.
I see.
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for Fifth Host, and we talk about what you're talking about. Dayton, Ohio is banning city employees from using tobacco and nicotine. They hope it'll promote a healthier work environment and save money. But union leaders say it could lead to workers' private lives being further scrutinized. So DBL Nation, should employees be able to ban tobacco use? Why don't you kick us off, Steph?
Let's have a look. So Brandy from Facebook says, maybe Dayton needs to come together and talk about banning guns instead. Why pick on smokers? It's
it's legal. Okay, so I think the gun situation is completely different to that of smoking. So first of all, they shouldn't be taking weapons into work anyway, so I think that's a completely irrelevant issue. With smoking, I don't think it's right that the company should say if you smoke you cannot, or this area should say if you smoke you can't work. I don't think that's very practical. Smoking is an addiction and it's not easy just to stop. What they should do is put incentives in place to help those that do smoke, and then, you know, help them overcome their addiction.
Yeah.
To be better and healthier.
I like that. Michael from Facebook says, smoking is a choice and I choose not to smoke. I don't want to be around it, especially if I'm working with food. I think, I look at marijuana. You know, we have to take a drug screening. We get tested for marijuana. It's legal in certain states. I think that they should be able to test for nicotine or whatever cigarettes because this company is providing you with your health care. But Tori is going to disagree. So
yeah, that's a good point. Your healthcare does have to come into play with that.
True, but so is if you have too many cheeseburgers, right? You're going to get obese, or if you have too much alcohol, you're going to have a lot more health
problems.
problems.
And that's something I don't think our country pays enough attention to. Yes.
Exactly. Okay. So could you say that? So
I didn't know I was on camera.
Marjorie from Facebook says private employers can hire or not hire anyone they want. So why can't the city that voted on this? They just want healthier employers. Oh my gosh, Marjorie, I'm so nerdily excited to answer this question. It's the difference between a private sector and the public sector. So as Jeff had pointed out, if it's a private company, honey, you can do whatever you want. You can make people stand on their head and have a goldfish, eat goldfish crackers all day long.
I want to work there.
It sounds awesome, doesn't it? But if you are in the public sector, i.e. a town like Dayton, the entire Constitution is based on the fact that the government, state or federal, doesn't tell citizens that are doing legal things about their business. You cannot discriminate on personal behavior that is legal. So for instance, if I wear dreadlocks or I eat too many cheeseburgers, or if I drink at night, you can't tell me I can't work there because that's legal and it's my personal business. It's unconstitutional and the ACLU agrees with me.
All right, I'm going to make your day right now.
What happened?
Read this next question.
Oh, Ed! Ed, I love you. He says there's a serious constitutional issue here. You cannot do stuff like this. I see a lawsuit in the making, this nonsense, and will be overthrown. That's exactly right.
Are you and Ed related?
I'm verklempt, Ed.
So this is different. I get what you're saying. If this is the town, you can't do this, but if it's a private company, you can do whatever you want.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep, private sector, public sector.
The town worked with the unions. The unions didn't like it, but they implemented some programs in this, so they worked together on it.
Yeah, hopefully they can compromise.
Okay.
All right, look at us compromise over here, Ed. Tori's favorite. Coming up on DBL, does recycling make men less masculine? What? The surprising new survey reveals what some guys really think. And I break down the latest episode of Big Brother in Reality Roundup. You don't want to miss it next.
Hey guys, Kelly Schubert here with the DBL Digital team. I'm tracking all the breaking and trending news for you right now, but it's time for a Fast Blast, where I give you all the news you need to know in under 2 minutes. Let's get that timer up. Here we go. Have you tried Burger King's new Impossible Whopper? You may not be eating what you thought you were. The burger chain is admitting that its plant-based burger is vegetarian, but that it's cooked on the same griddle as its chicken and beef products. What the heck, Burger King? On behalf of all my vegetarian friends, this is unacceptable. This seems like a big fat Whopper fail to me. Have you seen the viral photo floating around the internet of a backless airplane seat? A lot of people freaked out thinking this is the future of flying because airlines are trying to cut so many costs. But don't worry, EasyJet says passengers would never be allowed to fly in a seat like this. But why is there a picture of a woman sitting in the seat then? Now, EasyJet says it's investigating and passengers' safety is its highest priority. But hey, I know I wouldn't sit in a backless chair for an entire flight. Let's ask our airport expert. Jeff?
Hell no. I'm not having that. I don't like when people with their seats back, but to take away the whole seat, we can't have that.
No. Talk about a stinky situation. Check out this viral photo of a toilet that exploded in Florida. The house was struck by lightning during a bad thunderstorm. Now, plumbers said it must have struck near the septic tank, and that's what caused the toilet to blow into pieces. There are a ton of gross potty jokes I could say right now, but let's just move on. A popular movie from my childhood is getting a reboot, but not everyone is happy about it. Kevin! That's right, Disney says it's planning to reboot Home Alone. Fans of the classic Christmas movie say the movie is perfect the way it is, and they're worried Disney is trying to ruin the franchise. Duh. They say the third Home Alone was already bad, so why try to remake it? Here's my thought. Unless I'm getting a cameo from Macaulay Culkin himself, I am fully against this reboot. This has been Fast Blast for you. Take care.
Welcome back to DBL. It's been a crazy week for the Real Housewives, so Sam Shocker joined Tori Shulman and me for Reality Roundup. Hey, close the door back there.
Yep. First up on the Real Housewives. First of all, we got Jeff with us. I'm really excited. This is going to be good. Get ready, Jeff. First up on the Real Housewives of New York, the ladies call out Luann for being self-centered. Uh-oh, check it out.
Where's your daughter going to school this fall? I don't know. We haven't even talked about that yet. You don't know anything. You don't know where her daughter's going to school? She hasn't told me. We haven't seen each other. I texted you. The U Pen. That's insane. That's amazing.
I didn't hear anything they said till that's insane. So I don't even know what's going on.
So you don't think Luann is self-centered?
I have no idea who Luann is.
She's the Countess. She's the Count. Anybody that calls themselves the Countess.
She's at fault.
Although I love Luann.
I do too, but my favorite really is the Bethany reactions to Luann.
I know.
She's just like, you're a snake.
I know.
You're insane.
I give Luann a pass this season. She was working on her sobriety. If she needed to focus on herself to get sober, I'm giving her a pass.
You're giving the Countess a pass?
I give the Countess a pass.
All right, fine.
Oh, camera one. Here we go. Next on Dance Moms, Abby Lee Miller has one student make a hard choice.
no.
Uh-oh. Take a look.
Michelle, I'm going to ask you to step outside, please.
Come on, Abby.
Step outside the room. You are not going to dance if your mother doesn't follow my rules.
Yes, so please go upstairs. My daughter's choosing to stay with this deranged lunatic that's a convicted felon over me.
Yay, I win. I always choose me.
Man. I mean, what was the one thing you said while we were watching that packet?
I'm like, didn't she just get out of jail?
Yeah. Yes.
And now she's
back on her show.
dancing again.
I know.
Who's the new warden in town?
Good one. do we want to give Abby Lee Miller a second chance?
No, we do not.
You do not?
No, and I know comeback with Cobb, Erica would be very upset with me. She deserves the comeback she deserves, and I don't think she deserves.
But Erica always says you get the comeback that you're willing to earn.
And I don't think she's earning much with this kind of behavior.
Ooh, DBL Nation, let us know if you think she should get a second chance. Well, finally, on Big Brother, the house guests have been locked inside for over a month. Can you imagine? And they turned to lip reading to stay entertained. Check out Christy trying to guess the phrase.
Beg for ducks.
Bad? Beg.
Yes.
Beg for?
Ducks.
Sex?
Ducks.
Stocks?
Ducks.
Socks. Beg for socks.
Ducks.
Beg for ducks.
Yeah!
Beg for ducks? They look insane. They're bored.
I'm telling you, the downtime in the house is something that people do not understand.
So what would you do?
Oh my God, thank God I had my wife there. That's where like we really fell in love in that house, even though we were friends. But there's still a famous like saying that people still come up to me to this day. We're laying there, I'm like, what kind of animal would you want to be? You know, like an eagle? And she's like, I'd rather be a squirrel. Like it's this really crazy line. That's how bored we are.
It's almost like you guys are like permanently at a campfire. Yeah. Just talking about like nothingness.
And you wake up and you're like, there's nothing to do till Thursday. And you just, it's Tuesday. And you watch literally, you watch like, we watched a spider make a web.
Can you watch
for an
TV?
afternoon. I'm not even kidding.
Can you watch TV?
No, there's no book, nothing.
No books?
Nothing.
No crosswords?
Oh, no.
And you can,
I'm out.
Is there a gym?
Yeah, there's a gym.
Okay.
But sadly, you get so tired. You're like, I'm just going to work out all day. And you get so tired, you're like, I'll do it later. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll work out next week.
Because there's no
and then
schedule.
You just don't even work. Yeah.
They say schedules keep you on point.
And when you get out of there, when you go home, you're kind of like all over the place. You got to regroup.
And they have psychologists for you, correct? Wait,
if you need them, yes, absolutely.
Did you use them?
No, luckily. Maybe I should have.
This has been Reality Roundup with Jeff. Yay! We'll be right back.
Nation, I want to give a shout out to the commenter of the day, Miss Sarah Estachio.
She's all, I love her.
You're really at it again. She says I got schooled again because, she says I got schooled again. Tori had to tell him how healthcare works because Brandon is ignorant of things like this, and this show is educating him. Sweetheart.
Oh boy.
Be nice.
This is my 5th show of the day. We've done this 3 or 4 times already, so I already
Why is that
understand.
ignorant? Isn't healthcare come into issue if you're a smoker?
No, yeah. She's saying that Tori schooled me on healthcare because I said that we get tested for marijuana, and marijuana is legal on a state-to-state basis, not a federal basis like alcohol, cigarettes, that sort of thing.
But if you're taking, like for here, for example, I think it's everywhere. You have to disclose if you use tobacco. You have to put that in your insurance.
Like on your health care insurance and all that. On a lot of things you have to put
She's
down.
saying you don't? I don't know where the argument is.
Well, how about you have Sarah write us and explain what she means about...
Yeah,
because it definitely comes into play for your health insurance.
Yeah, absolutely. And so does obesity, and so does alcohol. Absolutely comes into play.
But I don't know if eating habits are on your health insurance, is it?
I guess that's a good point.
Tobacco is not your eating habits, which should be.
No, but have you had, how many do you drink? How many
Alcohol
is?
Yeah, but food isn't, and it should be.
You're right.
I eat at McDonald's 5 times a week. I eat 10 times a week.
I can't believe I never thought about that.
Yeah, but food, that's what I was trying to go with you. I think it should be. I think your diet definitely, like I didn't get a chance to say it this time, but if you're watching the last couple of times, my throat, sorry. My brother's company, if you work out for 40, go ahead.
No, for you. Go ahead. Keep going.
No, keep going.
If you work out for 45 minutes, or no, I'm tired. If you get a 45-minute lunch, if you work out, they buy you a membership and you get an hour and 45 minutes for lunch to create a better working space.
But that's going to be. But some people are going to come and say that's discrimination against people who don't want to work out.
You don't have to.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, but see, this town is saying if you smoke, we will absolutely blanket not hire you, and that is discrimination. But if you're like using a carrot, if you're using a carrot saying like if you want to work out, we'll give you more. That's totally up to you, and I think it's a great idea. An hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, and your membership.
But Tori,
I would work
on this healthcare issue.
I would work out for that.
Yeah,
and I hate working out.
On this healthcare issue,
yes,
I understand that cigarettes are legal on a federal basis.
Right.
But if these companies, what Dayton is trying to do is they're trying to promote a healthier lifestyle for people, for their workers, because their companies are having to shell out hundreds of billions of dollars on healthcare. And one thing that continues to rise up, lung cancer, is something that they're having to pay for for their employees. So I can see what you're saying, how you're taking things away, people's civil liberties, but this healthcare, they're trying to save money on that end. Take that, Stacey. I'm just
Sarah,
joking.
her name's Sarah.
Oh.
Welcome back to DBL. You're running late, so you grab some fast food. We've all been there. Tori and Elle have some tips on to-go food in this DBL Drive presented by who, y'all?
CarShield!
That's right.
I think the drive-through, in a weird way, is kind of like it's deceptive because you're like, oh, well, this is going to be faster.
Right.
Perfect. But what if everybody's thinking that?
Yeah, I know.
I think the little secret hidden gem of life is that you go inside. Much fewer people. You go in there, you get that one-on-one. Give me the fluffy croissant. Don't give me the one that looks like somebody.
Don't give me that weird fry.
I don't want the one that looks like somebody put the people's elbow on it. I want a nice fluffy croissant with ham and cheese in there. You're definitely getting a tip from old Al.
I see, and maybe a tip of the hat even.
Well, I'm not wearing a hat.
I know, but it's an expression.
To a Joe Louis fight.
When you're starving and on the move, a drive-thru can be the perfect solution to fuel you up. Use a shower caddy to make your meals easy to reach and pass. Don't wait until hunger hits you. Store some snacks in the car for whenever you get a craving. And for peace of mind, get an auto protection plan with CarShield. CarShield protects their members from the high cost of auto repairs. Call 1-800-505-9619 for a free quote.
There you go.
Shower caddy.
Isn't that so brilliant?
Love it.
It's a smart idea, and the kids can have fun. You can put some crayons in there, too, but a shower caddy keeps everything organized. It's an extra cup holder.
Wow, too bad I Uber.
You can still do it.
You can bring, would that be weird if you brought a shower caddy to the Uber?
Yes.
The answer is yes.
You know what feeling I haven't felt since like I was a little kid looking at that video?
What?
Remember when you reached into your fries, but then there was a curly fry in there, and you're like, my life's the best.
Everything's coming up, Jeff.
Here's what's coming up next on DBL.
The old gang's back together as 90210 returns tonight. Star Jenny Garth dishes on a backstage fight that almost got physical. Then, does saving the planet make you less of a man? Wait till you hear why some men refuse to recycle. And aging in Hollywood. Stars Cameron Diaz, Jennifer Garner, and Demi Moore share their experiences later on DBL.
Hi, DBL Nation. It's Raquel here. I have an issue that we talked about yesterday. Actually, you had a lot to say about it. It was our DBL take. I see Brandon over here waving at us. Hi, Brandon. How's it going? Thank you. You can get my shoes. Thanks, guys. I like everyone's outfit. Have you guys seen Tori today? Like, Tori, has the world seen like your entire look today?
Oh, so here's the thing. So this is, thank you. First of all, I love what you're wearing, but this is J. Crew. Everyone can look for it. It's Rent the Runway. I didn't buy it yet. But Steph said such a good point. It's a little Dorothy.
It is. Like, I imagine you wearing those really cool purses that are kind of wicker,
and then like
one of your dogs. Like,
yeah. And Barnaby looks just like Toto.
Yeah.
Take a picture, put it on social media.
Okay.
Like modern Dorothy.
Can I ask you a question?
What's up?
Do we think Dorothy was a hero? Was a heroine?
Yeah.
You think?
She was on heroin?
No, not on it. Well, she was in the poppy fields, but hold on. No, like, was she a hero of that story?
I mean, when you think about it, though, isn't the original thing to say something
about populism?
Yeah, so
it's about some.
It was all written about like different things and representing different.
Yeah, you're
things,
right.
But taken outside in just the context of Dorothy, I think so because she manages to take care of herself.
Yeah, you're right.
What's your argument against it, though?
She follows a road. I mean, is it that hard? No, I'm just kidding. No, I feel like. Yeah. And again, the message is you can always go home. I have a lot of questions about Wizard of Oz that are actually. Yeah. Talk to me later.
Yes, we'll be back. See ya. I was like,
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Because everyone's talking about this.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
You are totally off base here.
Log on and join our live conversation.
You think this hair just naturally stays like this?
DBL starts right now.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. Let's dive right in. The water's warm. The wait is finally over. The reboot of BH 90210 premieres tonight on Fox. They even recreated the original opening credits. It brings back some memories for me.
Oh,
but what about what fans can't stop buzzing about is the reunion between Shannon Doherty and Jenny Garth. It's no actresses did not get along back in the 90s. This week on Watch What Happens Live, Jenny talked about their worst fight on set. Let's listen.
What kinds of things did you tussle?
I can only remember one incident, and that was when, we took it outside.
You did?
Yeah.
Did it actually get physical?
Yeah, I'm a Midwestern girl.
Right.
And I spent some time in Glendale, Arizona.
Okay.
So that makes you tough.
The streets of Glendale. Apparently, Jenny and Shannon put their differences aside for the reboot, but we've been hyping the show for such a long time. Will you guys be tuning in? DBL Nation, chime in by heading to dblvote.com. I can't speak because I'm so excited about the reboot tonight.
Excited.
Put it on my DVR.
You used to watch this in college.
I used to watch it when I went to college. I'm like, are you guys watching 90210 tonight? It was on Wednesday nights, I remember. Everyone's like, what a dork. Who's this guy? By the end of the season, my room was packed. We were having parties every Wednesday night. Yeah, like, I can't believe Dylan did that. Why did he get back with her? So I'm very excited about this. I like the concept about it because they're playing themselves, not their characters. That's similar to what Curb Your Enthusiasm does. I don't think they're going to do that good of a job, but nonetheless, it is very nostalgic for me.
I've honestly never seen this.
Really, Steph?
So in England, it was on TV, but it was not a big deal. And I think you had to have some really fancy channel to probably watch it because it was American and we didn't have it. So I don't know how great it is, but basing it off Jeff's reaction, you're living for this moment.
It was a lot of people's teenage years. This was their first crush. It was like everything. Dylan, everything.
But are you tuning in or no?
You know, I never got into it, but I could try it again.
So it might be hard for you if you didn't watch the original to get it. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to play out.
I was always called Andrea. Is that a compliment?
Andrea, she was like the school paper. She ran the school paper.
Was she cool?
She was very into running the school.
Was she cool?
Is that cool to you?
Yeah.
Well, then she was cool.
Sex in the City was our football team's 90210.
There you go.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
See, I was never.
We're not watching that, but yeah, I can't wait to see what Miranda's going to do.
Is there a show that you're kind of in? I want to get to this vote, but real fast. Will you be watching 90210? BH 90210?
I mean, that's barely 50%.
Well, guess what? You're going to hear about it tomorrow because I'm going to talk about it. Were you ever embarrassed about a show that you watched? That's kind of like, you don't want to tell everybody that, but I told them.
Hello.
I used to watch the cartoon Batman. Do you know that one?
It's a good one.
When
It's
they're
a
like,
great
how?
one. No, the one that has the animated one, and I loved it. I just never shared that with anyone, but now I am.
Okay.
Oh, what a loser.
Andrea.
Did you ever have one like that?
I'm trying to think. I don't know. Scooby-Doo?
That's
not embarrassing. That was a great one.
I'm
Mine, it wasn't a show, but I was in the dorm room with some lady friends in college, and I just fell in love with The Notebook. I was like about to cry during The Notebook.
Oh my God.
I just want to love like this.
It's still not over.
It is good.
I wrote you every day for a year.
I don't want to get off on a tangent, but A Walk to Remember was on my DVR, and I was like, oh my God, take it off. I'm back. That's a sad one. All right, guys, last night it was a moment that could bring any diva lovers to tears. Ariana Grande made a surprise appearance at Barbra Streisand's concert in Chicago. The powerhouse pair sang "No More Tears, Enough is Enough." After the duet, 26-year-old Ariana posted this picture and said she was going to pass out. Tori, would you pass out?
I would 100% pass out. Also know that there's a picture going viral now of a very little Ariana Grande watching Barbra Streisand from the audience, almost in tears. And so what a great moment. It's a beautiful,
cool.
I mean, they both have those belting voices. Ariana is really quite talented, and Barbra is
a legend.
goddess.
Is a legend, a living legend right now. Unreal. I mean, we go back to Stars Born.
You're just reeling up things you've literally.
Meet the Fockers.
What about like Hello Dolly, Funny Girl?
Funny Girl was, oh my, I DVR'd it.
The Emmys, the Grammys, the nominees.
Steph, what's going on?
No, I think, what it is I think that obviously Barbra, she's so famous, right? But I think Brandon maybe knows her from more things like, what's that song? Barbra Streisand.
So you think he's making up all these movies?
No, I think he's obviously heard them throughout the course of the day because we've been talking about it. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that because I think it's a very different generation, and like not all of us are into musical theater, and that's fine.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Barbra Streisand is my parents' generation and a lot of me.
You don't say her name like that. It's Barbra Streisand, like the song.
All right, there's a very popular game that's too vulgar to say, so I'm going to switch it up.
Okay.
Barbra Streisand or Ariana Grande, you got to pick one. One goes away forever.
No, I want Barbra Streisand to stay.
Okay, so you get rid of Ariana Grande.
Ariana's got to go.
I love you, but Grande, you're going. I'm staying with Babs. I have to. Yes. What about you? Honey, she created the
I feel like Babs is like she's at the end, so we're gonna get newer. We're gonna get newer music from Ariana. I feel like Babs is already done her thing.
I would go with Barb's because I think without people and women like her, there wouldn't be the Beyoncés, there wouldn't be the Arianas. The course of history could be very different.
All right, well, I'll be jamming in Ariana next summer and you guys won't. That didn't even make sense. Beyonce is making history again, this time as a work of art. Let's get up to Raquel Villanueva with news at the moment.
That's right, Jeff. Queen Bee has earned her title as music royalty. Now she's becoming part of history at the Smithsonian. The museum is adding Beyonce's Vogue cover to the National Portrait Gallery. This photo is the first ever to be shot by a black photographer in the magazine's 125-year history. Tyler Mitchell, who captured this shot, tweeted, "A year ago today, we broke the floodgates open." No word yet on when it'll go on display, but it's a permanent part of the collection.
This is huge, huge honor. The president, Michelle Obama, a lot of famous people are in there, but it's also history. And you're going to go in there and see Beyonce, and she just took her place in history.
So does this picture stay forever?
Forever.
No
and
way.
So Smithsonian is a bunch of different museums.
Right.
They're all free, which is fantastic. So little girls and boys can, there's a famous one of a little girl looking up at the Michelle Obama one.
Wow.
And it's just inspiring and wonderful. And she deserves this. She absolutely does, as does the photographer, Tyler Mitchell.
Yep. And if she doesn't, nobody would say it.
Yeah, you're right.
Monica Lewinsky is taking her infamous story to the FX network. She's producing the third season of American Crime Story that will follow the scandals leading up to President Bill Clinton's impeachment hearings. Along with Monica, Paula Jones and Linda Tripp will be main characters in the story. Actress Beanie Feldstein plays Monica. That's Jonah Hill's younger sister, in case you didn't know. She appeared in films like Lady Bird and Booksmart, but no word yet on who will play the Clintons. It's going to be a big role for Birdie. Beanie.
Yeah, she's a great actress.
I'll know it next time.
Yeah, you will.
Yes.
It will do well. I'm all for Monica Lewinsky telling her side of the story. I think she was bullied pretty bad, but I also think she was complicit and it was consensual. However, as Brandon and I have talked about today, bad timing. It's going to be about 6 weeks.
The final 6 weeks of the 2020 election.
I think it's bad for Democrats. I do, and I think it's bad for voting apathy, meaning if you're watching that, which we all will, American Crime is great. It's Ryan Murphy. We're all going to be a little bit like, politicians are the worst.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have apathy at the voting booth. So that worries me.
And just think, it was season 1, how great it was with the O.J. Simpson trial, what went down with that. Just think if that would have aired during his parole. Maybe he wouldn't have gotten out. Maybe the parolees, the parole board would have saw that and been, a little partial not to let him out. And then we look at Surviving R. Kelly, that documentary. That documentary was so powerful. Now we see him in the news all the time getting indicted for even more charges.
Yeah.
So I just look at the powerfulness of this show, and I'm worried that it can influence our election.
Here's my thing. She always wants it to go away, like the story.
Yeah.
And I'm all for making mistakes when you're young and learning from that. Mistakes when you're old and learning from that.
Yep.
But now she's producing this film. Is she kind of asking for it to relive this scrutiny almost?
This is what confuses me. So she's always said that I don't want to divulge in it. I want to move on. I want to move on with my life. And we've heard her story many times. We've heard it in written form with Vanity Fair. We've seen it when she's done interviews with like Gayle King, or she's really gone in depth. So what confuses me is to say for someone who wants to move on, I don't want to talk about it. I want to move on with my life. Why you then gone to produce a full TV series or show on this?
And
it really baffles me.
And that's a very fair point, to be honest with you. But I don't think she wants to necessarily move on. She wants to be an ambassador against bullying. And I think she wants to tell her story because what happened between those two was consensual and wrong. And he got impeached as he should have.
Right. Yeah.
However, the onslaught of bullying that went on to Monica Lewinsky was outrageously disproportionate to Bill Clinton. So I think she wants to stand up and say, this is my story and also the after effects of it. But I do think that's a really fair point because a lot of people wrote in, I was sort of backing her up and Steph was saying, I don't know. And they were saying, look, this is consensual. Although she was 22 and he was the president and there's some abuse of power there. I do hear you. It's not the Me Too movement. It's different than that. So it's a fair point, Steph.
Yeah, I'll be watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I totally would be thinking it. Yeah.
All right, guys, a new study out there says, or there's a reason why you should never see, I screwed this all up. Are you supposed to take this over at some point,
Oh, do you want to do it? There's a reason why you never see men use.
Hold on, let's start all over.
Okay, do it again.
Moving on, I'll be watching that Monica Lewinsky story. Are you guys in? We're all in, all four of us. Wait, we got to squeeze this last story in.
You want me to do it?
Yeah, why don't you take it?
So awesome.
Let's change it up.
Thanks, Ben. A new study says there's a reason why you never see men using reusable bags at grocery stores. It's because the bags are, quote, not associated with manliness. I disagree, and to support my argument are some famous men who hotly remembered a reusable bag. Exhibit A is Hugh Jackman.
By the way, now I know why they switched it over.
I do too, I just realized.
I got it now, okay.
Although you could have done this. The man is bundled up for the cold, but his care for the environment is hot, hot, hot. Exhibit B, DJ Calvin Harris once dated Taylor Swift. Now he's saving the planet. kind of with a bag. And Exhibit C, Samuel L. Jackson. I dare you to tell Samuel L. Jackson to his face that carrying a tote is not manly. So is recycling, reusing, reducing, is that not considered manly to you guys?
I think it's cool, and I use them all the time too. I love going into, I go to Whole Foods once in a while just for the fish because it's a little expensive, but they got good fish. But if you bring your own bag, it's 10 cents. You could either keep it or donate it. I donate it. I've seen many pictures of the oceans with plastic bags. They look like islands out there. And I am doing my part a little bit. Not all the time. I forget my bags, but I'm doing my little part. And if everyone does a little part, we're going to all be better off.
Yeah, and I don't think it's not manly. I wear pink, and when I go to the...
Would you wear a tote bag?
No, I don't think so, because that means you have to bring it with you all the time. I like brown paper bags. And Stephanie, is it like that in the UK as well?
So in England, you get charged, it's 5 pence, so let's say 5 cents, every plastic bag, no matter where you are, no matter what store it is. Brown bags don't exist because then you're consuming more paper, right? So if you bring your own plastic bags, you don't obviously get charged. You actually get credits for the store, similar to the concept that you said here. But you have to bring, so that's everyone's incentive, because they don't want to go and spend, let's say, another $5 on grocery bags if they're doing a huge shop.
Britain's got it figured out.
A little bit.
My dad definitely reuses his plastic bags.
You gotta be part of the solution, not the problem.
There you go.
Boom. Thanks. Coming up on DBL, a grandma's regret of never seeing the ocean turned into the ultimate adventure with her grandson. How he stepped up to make sure all of her wishes came true. And 3 Hollywood powerhouses chat about aging in the spotlight. The discussion when DBL comes back.
Has a little bit of a sore throat. My cure is obviously I need you to take Advil every 4 hours. What you want to do is prevent the pain, get ahead of the pain. So every 4 hours, I'm going to be bugging him to take his Advil. I'm also Jewish, and we're really into fixing people when they're sick.
And you're also leaving in 19 minutes.
Freedom! We lost it. Trivia again. It was a tough loss. We were up at number 1, and then we went down to number 3. Chris Hickman says, people are obsessed with crime. I love crime shows and movies the most, although I get crap from my friend saying your mom shows. I love crime shows. Sword and Scale is a great podcast if you like true crime. Michael Loveland says chicken soup with the Advil. Do you feel like chicken soup would be good? Anything hot would be good.
Yeah, hot would be good. No, I'm all right. It's just my throat is like really like dry and like scratchy. I think I just overdid it. I went to Vegas this weekend, and then I came back and really worked out hard. Like I worked out Monday night for a long time.
Out.
Then Tuesday morning I got up early and worked out super hard, like steaming and stuff. So I think my body's just like, let's party, let's get in shape, let's relax.
Which one do you want? I can't speak.
Yeah, so I think it's just a bunch.
You also do talk a lot on the show, and you can strain your vocal cords.
Yeah.
Those are what your vocal cords look like. Singing Mary says The Way We Were. Have you seen The Way We Were? Have you seen it?
What's that?
With Robert Redford and Barbra Streisand?
I don't know if I saw that.
Memory, water, misty water.
I'm not watching the movie doing all that. I don't like musicals. I don't like all that.
But there's a part, just stay here, pretend you're like, we're falling in love, and it's Robert Redford and I'm Barbra Streisand. Ooh, that's good. And you kind of have shaggy hair right here, and she always goes like this. And she moves his little hair like that. And in Sex and the City, do you remember that? When Carrie does it, goes.
Welcome back to DBL. A group of A-list actresses are opening up to InStyle magazine about aging in Hollywood. Jennifer Garner talked about what it was like starting a family and going from a hot girl of the moment to quickly being defined by pregnancies and babies. The 47-year-old went on to say she doesn't have the offers coming in like she did earlier in her career. So do you guys, being women, do you guys feel like this? Because I'm going to tell you, being a man, if I was in LA, I'd be going out for dad roles just because I'm getting older.
Right.
So I don't take that offense. I just know my hair's getting grayer. My body's changing. I'm getting older. That's the parts I would be going out for.
But would you be going out for like good-looking dad, right? Or would you?
Of course.
I didn't even mean to say that, but I mean, like, I think Jennifer Garner, she'd love to go out for mom roles, but those mom roles are often frumpy, or she doesn't feel sexy in them. She's not seen as a sexual person anymore. And I think every woman is gonna start to feel that way. I haven't had kids. I'm 37. I'm in shape for the first time in a long time, and I'm on a momentum, and I'm like scared. I also have a biological clock, so I totally get what she's saying.
So why do you feel scared?
My body will change, to be honest, and I'm finally feeling fit. I think my priorities have changed. My husband and I are doing great, and we're really together, and we're really bonded. And I'm nervous about being pregnant on air. I think I'm already a curvy girl. My boobs are already pretty big. I'm being really honest.
Yeah.
And I think I'll look like a big round circle.
But what do you think happens when you have a baby? You know what I mean? You shouldn't be ashamed of that, or think
Not
like
ashamed, but
it's
we're a
gonna change
visual
anything.
industry, right? And I'm just like, I work really hard lately to feel better about myself, and I'm worried that I will, I don't know, maybe not get a job or something.
Age is going to do the same thing to you no matter what you do. You know?
That's true. And I fear that as well. I have to be honest. I think for men,
there's nothing you can do about that.
I know, but for men, when you age, you become salt and pepper and distinguished. A woman's like, oh, what a hag.
I do think, like you say, like the roles for women, it does change in a more negative sense. For men, like you said, like you look at Sean Connery,
right?
You know,
can
look at Brad Pitt, and they're aging, and they're getting even hotter roles, you know. Whereas for women, it's almost like once you pass a certain age, that's kind of it for you as much.
I think that's irresponsible for y'all to say that.
Drooling
because
over Barbra Streisand.
Yeah, her talent. If no one's like, what a hot woman, right?
Yeah, that's like a talent.
She's still beautiful for that age.
But men tend, and this is not a generalization, this is real.
Okay.
When men get older, they get distinguished. When women get older, we get wrinkly, we get, I mean, this is words of society.
Okay.
And so there's never a sexy aging woman. No, I think it's starting, but you don't see models with white or
tell you
gray
what there
hair.
is, Stifler's mom.
Stifler's mom, I loved her.
American
What a great mom.
Yeah, she held it.
She was a groundling.
She held it.
You went way down in that bag for that.
That reusable bag.
Yeah, there you go. The little reusable tote bag. If we're going back to movies, as soon as you said my biological clock is ticking.
Oh,
What's
Marissa
that from? There you
Tomei, my
go.
cousin Vinny. It's ticking like this.
Did you guys know that one?
Yeah, I knew it. My cousin Vinny, I love it.
You didn't know that one.
Such a good line.
All right, well,
we got one.
We got through one. There we go. Coming up on DBL, a grandson helps his grandma realize it's never too late to take the adventure of a lifetime. We'll show you how they're inspiring people across the country. But first, after a child loses his sight, his father steps up in ways he never expected. Heart Dreads is next.
It's Raquel here. I just actually bought tickets to see Dave Chappelle and Jon Stewart, and I was going to tell someone else here that we're going together. I haven't seen Chappelle since the Chappelle Show. I didn't watch any of the Netflix specials, but I'm hoping it'll be just as good. It's moving around here. And Jon Stewart, I used to actually be a PA for him when he was in Denver randomly. So again, that was probably like 10 years ago. So it's gonna be like a nostalgia trip. But if you could see any comedian, like living or dead, who would you want to see? Because even though I haven't heard from them recently, unless with the Jon Stewart 9/11 stuff, I will always hold them in my heart as great comedians. So I'm really excited for the show. But I want to know who you love. Travis, who would you see if you could see anyone? I'm asking camera guy. Anyone? Yeah. Tupac. I don't know. I was thinking comedians, but anyone. I want to see a good one. It's one at Red Rocks and one at Fillmore. So anyone in Denver tuning in, that's kind of the inside. They added a second show about 4 days ago. So if this is something you really want to see, Daniel Tosh. I did see Daniel Tosh once from 2.0. He is a very angry man. Let's just say that. He is very angry live. But I still laughed. Anyway, DBL Nation, let me know, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Welcome back to DBL. Now, today's Hard Threats is all about a determined dad who will stop at nothing to make sure his blind son experiences the world. Get your tissues ready. Here's their story.
After his son lost his sight to cancer, this dad resolved to show his little boy the world. Nolan Desmond was diagnosed with a rare eye cancer as a baby. After rounds of surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation, he eventually lost his sight.
He's been blind for over half his life.
Despite Nolan's blindness, his dad Matt wanted to make sure he could see the world. Matt takes 3-year-old Nolan to places with water so Nolan can hear and feel them.
Water. You feel it.
It ended up kind of being a tradition.
Matt documents all of Nolan's adventures, hoping one day his son will be able to see everywhere he's been.
I love you.
That was so beautiful. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by this.
Welcome back to DBL. From Captain Kirk to TJ Hooker, William Shatner has been entertaining audiences for the past 7 decades. I sat down with him to talk about his iconic career in today's Chatting with the Stars, Shatner style. Mr. Shatner, welcome to DBL.
Please call me Bill. Please call me Bill.
Bill, let's start again. Welcome to DBL. Over the last 60 years, you've done everything. Movies, TV shows, commercials, a singing career in an industry where people vanish in a second. Unbelievable. Now, I want to know how you explain your longevity.
It's a mystery. It's inexplicable. It is, in fact, unexplained.
Nice
Which is the title of the new show that I'm on. Bizarre, nightmarish creatures that hide in the shadows and terrorize small towns. They give them names like Mothman, Chupacabra, the Jersey Devil, and the Goat Man. I'm hosting The Unexplained, the mysteries that abound in this world. On July 19th, it premieres on the History Channel at 10 p.m. I just wanted to get that out.
We are anxiously awaiting Star Trek Picard. What do you think about Patrick Stewart returning to the classic role, and what would it take for you to play Captain Kirk?
A lot of money.
I love you. So honest.
I don't know why Patrick is doing it. I think he just loves to work, but I will and ask him why, and he won't give me a real answer, I'm sure, because the answer to that is locked in to a mystery that's called The Unexplained.
I was just going to say, it's The Unexplained. That's right.
And also, there's an Alien Con.
Yeah, tell me about Alien Con.
June
It's the
21st.
world's first convention dedicated to seeking the truth about extraterrestrials, yes?
Exactly, Tori. How did you know that?
I don't know. I've researched.
Extraterrestrials. I mean, is there extraterrestrials here? Did they come? Are they here? Will they come in time to save us from destroying ourselves from climate change?
There you go. All right. Do you believe in aliens, and do you think they've already visited us?
I believe fervently that there is life abounding in the universe.
Right.
We're reaching out to see whether there's life on other planets and then other planets outside our solar system. There's a whole mystery, Tori, to our lives, our existence.
William Shatner, thank you so much for joining us on DBL. What an honor.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to see you. I'll talk to you.
Welcome back to DBL. We have to give a big DBL shout out to an inspiring duo capturing hearts on the internet. Meet 89-year-old Grandma Joy and her grandson Brad. They're on the ultimate road trip together, so far visiting 29 national parks. Brad went on the trip after his grandmother said she regretted never seeing the ocean or mountains. They hope this journey will let other young people know you're never too cool to hang out with your grandparents. So guys, what's your dream vacation? By the way, I think internet is calling these people, this lady, Instagram Ma.
Oh, that's darling.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
that's
so, yeah.
just darling.
They're killing you with the puns. That's a Tory pun.
That
You didn't
is.
think of that?
Okay,
But what's
you're
your dream vacation with your grandmother or anybody? Or anybody?
Oh my gosh. So my granny's actually from Germany, and I feel like I already had it. She took me to where she grew up, and I saw where she lived, and I stayed in the house where she lived. And yeah, I think that's really nice because I got to see a part of her life that I never would have known existed.
Oh, my grandmother, you know, they're both passed on, but on my dad's side had pictures of the world, the pyramids.
Yeah.
That's one of my dreams, like to go there. So now I got all those pictures, but I would love to go see it with her, yeah.
I think I would love to take my grandparents. They liked to go in an RV and go across the country to see America. I'd have loved to have been in that RV with them.
I love a good RV trip.
My one grandma has dementia, so she's kind of confined to a wheelchair right now. My other grandma, she's already been around the world because she married my grandfather who's in the Air Force. So I would love to take her to the club with me because she's been raising babies her whole life. She's been raising babies.
That's an Instagram.
She asked me, she's like, "You go to the club, what do you do?" I can't go into detail, Grandma, but I'm gonna take her with me one day.
And then the whole next day, she's answering your DMs. All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Happy Hump Day, everybody.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, it is.
All right.